Chapter 232. Every one of Lin Xian's deeds could shock a group of people, and when these deeds were concentrated on one person, it was even more shocking. Elder Song's eyes lit up again. He was also the one who witnessed Lin Xian obtain the title of a second-grade inscription master. He was also full of hope for Lin Xian. The competition went on quickly. During this time, Lu Qing, Ding Jia, and the others from Thousand Treasures Tower were all defeated. Lu Qing was defeated by Ziyi with a glance, and Ding Jia was defeated by the ethereal girl from Rain Country. For a moment, Xia Country's momentum fell to the bottom. At this time, on the first arena, the referee's voice sounded again. Next match, Lin Xian versus Shadowless. Shadowless, the black-robed young man, was listed as a terrifying martial artist like Ziyi. Hua! Some of the disciples who were not participating in the competition all ran towards the first arena, surrounding it so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Most of them were disciples from Xia Country and Shadow Country. After all, this battle would determine whether Xia Country could rise. If Lin Xian couldn't even defeat the black-robed man, then it was even more impossible for him to defeat Ziyi. That also proved that Xia Country would be completely defeated in this competition. For a moment, Wei Wei, Shan Shan, Lu Qing, and the others were all watching nervously. In the stands, Elder Song and Elder Gu also took a deep breath and looked over with rapt attention. The black-robed young man stood on the stage like a ghost, emitting a terrifying aura. "Kid, your luck has come to an end to meet me." The black-robed young man's voice was a little hoarse. "Xia Country is destined to have no fate with the inscription tower." "Cut the crap." Lin Xian frowned. He sensed some black runes quietly forming under his feet. Boom! The copper thunder pattern shone brightly. Lin Xian's whole body was surrounded by thunder and lightning, like a thunder god descending to the world. Xiu! Xiu! The black gas was like a worm attached to a bone, quickly crawling onto Lin Xian's body. At the same time, the black-robed young man's fingers shone with a black light, and a dangerous aura spread out. Qi! A black light rushed out from his fingertip and attacked Lin Xian like black lightning. Disperse! Lin Xian's body shook as the lightning patterns on his body flickered, dispersing the black aura around him. At the same time, his feet flashed and his figure disappeared. Whoosh! When he reappeared, he was already behind the black-robed young man. So fast! The surrounding martial artists cried out in alarm. They simply couldn't see Lin Xian's footwork clearly. Their exclamation was reasonable because none of the black-robed youth's opponents had ever been able to dodge the black finger light. Even the second-grade inscriptionists were no exception. But now, Lin Xian had easily dodged it. The black-robed young man sneered. With a shake of his black robe, he disappeared. What? Everyone was stunned for a moment. Then they used their soul power to search. Soon, a shocked expression appeared on their faces. No, they couldn't sense the black-robed young man at all. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He released his soul force and carefully sensed. A moment later, he frowned. Just like the others, he didn't sense anything. That kid is dead for sure. How dare he show off his speed in front of Shadowless? Does he really think he's called Shadowless for nothing? The disciples of the Dark Shadow Palace sneered, their words full of mockery. Using Shadowless as his name was enough to show the black-robed young man's speed. The disciples of the state of Great Xia were shocked. They thought the black-robed young man's strength was his soul power, but they didn't expect it to be his speed. With such speed, the opponent can't even sense it. How can he attack? Don't be discouraged. Lin Xian's defense is very strong. Shadowless might not be able to break it, Vivian said in a low voice. The disciples of the state of Great Xia were stunned, then overjoyed. Indeed, Lin Xian's defense was very strong. Even a martial artist at the seventh sky of the spiritual sea realm couldn't break it. Just as everyone was filled with hope, a sharp black light appeared in the air. Its appearance was so sudden that there was no sign at all. Whoosh! The black light was like a crescent moon, as if it had split the void in half. Dang! Lin Xian threw a punch at the half-moon black light, creating a burst of sparks. Chi! Crack! Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled incessantly. Lin Xian shattered the crescent-shaped black light, but his arm was still numb. This was the first time he felt numb since he had mastered the copper thundermark. After shattering the crescent moon, Lin Xian spread out his soul power, searching for the black-robed young man's figure. However, he caught a trace of his aura, then he lost track of it again. After a few breaths, the sharp chi slashed the void again, coming from behind him. This time it was a black sickle. The sharp edge of the sickle was cold, making people's souls tremble. Puchi! The saber landed on Lin Xian's body, leaving a half-foot-long gash on his body. The copper thunder mark was cut open a little. Although it didn't hurt Lin Xian, the impact was shocking. Below the stage, the disciples of the state of Great Shadow were all boiling and shouting. The disciples of the state of Great Xia were worried. They thought that the black-robed young man couldn't hurt Lin Xian. Now it seemed that they were too naive. A black sickle was enough to cut open Lin Xian's defense. Lin Xian was also shocked. He twisted his body and quickly dodged the sharp edge. It can actually cut open the copper thunder mark. His face was gloomy. He was very clear about the power of the copper thunder mark. Although his copper thunder mark was only at the lower level, a normal martial artist at the 7th layer of the spiritual sea realm couldn't break his defense. It must be that black sickle. Lin Xian didn't believe that the black-robed young man could break his defense because the first attack didn't hurt him at all. What kind of weapon could actually cut open the lower-level copper thunder mark? Could it be a high-level mystic artifact? He was shocked, but at the same time he was on full alert. This was a difficult opponent to deal with. His movement technique was strange to the extreme. In the following time, Lin Xian was in a passive defense, almost getting hurt a few times. However, he also noticed something. This method of attack was very similar to my wind melting style, but it was much more advanced than my wind melting style. The principle should be the same. He blended into the wind. Thinking of this, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. With a flip of his palm, the autumn scar sword appeared in his hand. Weapon? Lin Xian actually took out a weapon. The nearby disciples were shocked. They had never seen Lin Xian use a weapon. Long sword. Could he be a sword cultivator? Even some of the Xia Kingdom's disciples were stunned, and many of them looked at Vivian. Yes, Lin Xian is indeed a sword cultivator. Vivian nodded. Lin Xian. Could he be the one ranked 20 on the hidden dragon rank? Lin Xian! Someone exclaimed. Instantly, a group of people was shocked. A powerful sword cultivator was actually a 2nd-grade rune master. This kind of news was undoubtedly explosive. You think you can fight against Shadowless with a long sword? Too naive. Yeah, a backward country indeed. The disciples of the Dark Shadow Palace sneered. They were very clear about Shadowless's strength. He was a genius who had comprehended a trace of the wind mentality. Although it was only a trace, it wasn't something that Lin Xian could fight against. Chapter 233. It's useless. No one can find me. The black-robed young man's voice rang out in the surroundings. It was so ethereal that no one could find his real body. You can try. Lin Xian sneered. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The black-robed young man said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, the air on Lin Xian's left was torn apart. The black sickle slashed down mercilessly. Shoo! A sword light flashed and accurately pierced the blade. The horrifying force caused the blade to deviate. Boom! The black sickle slashed the ground, creating a crack. Countless rocks rolled to the sides. The solid black ground was finally broken open at this moment. After succeeding, Lin Xian's eyes turned sharp. The autumn scar, sword in his hand, pierced out again. It was as fast as lightning. At this moment, the black-robed young man had already disappeared. Wind Emperor's sword. Lin Xian unleashed the full potential of the Wind Emperor's sword. The sword became transparent as if it had disappeared. Only the sword hilt was exposed. This scene was extremely strange. It was as if the long sword was broken in half. However, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Puff! Dang! A low sound rang out in the air. Then a human figure appeared. What? He actually hit it. The surrounding people looked at the black-robed young man who was in a sorry state. Their faces were filled with shock. Impossible! How did he find out? The disciples of the Dark Shadow Palace screamed. Even some of the elders were frowning, guessing. He must have guessed. The shock on the black-robed young man's face did not recede. Like the other disciples, he believed that Lin Xian's sword strike was a wild guess. He had comprehended a trace of the wind mentality. He could merge with the wind. Normal people would not be able to find him, let alone hit him. Thinking of this, the black-robed young man calmed down. His body shook and he disappeared again. Shoo! A black blade light that was dozens of meters long slashed through the air. However, the black-robed young man did not appear. Shoo! The dazzling sword light lit up. It was like a cold light that lit up half of the arena. Boom! The black-robed young man's body was blasted out again. He staggered back 7 or 8 steps before stopping. This is impossible. He finally lost his composure. Lin Xian did not respond. Instead, he quickly attacked. With the power of wind and lightning surging, Lin Xian's speed reached the extreme. Those who were observant would notice that Lin Xian's body was beginning to fade in and out of existence. Sometimes they couldn't even sense him. Thunder and lightning surged, and the wind howled. Wind and thunder blended together, and the terrifying sword energy tore through the sky. With a thrust of the sword, all the air within 10 meters was sucked away. Clang! The black-robed youth held a 2-meter-long black sickle in his hand and formed a semicircle in the air, blocking Lin Xian's sword light. However, in the next moment, Lin Xian had already arrived beside him. His left fist was like a dragon as he suddenly punched out. Thunder and lightning intertwined and instantly smashed onto the black sickle. The terrifying force caused the black-robed man to retreat more than 10 meters. Wind Emperor's sword. The sword light disappeared, and when it reappeared, it was already in front of the black-robed man. Whoosh! The black robe was torn apart, and a half-meter-long sword mark appeared on Shadowless's body. Luckily, he had the black chi protecting his body, so this sword did not hurt him. However, his sorry state made him even more furious. You dare to embarrass me? You deserve to die. Shadowless tore apart the black robe on his body, revealing a black armor. As if he was a martial artist that walked out of hell, Shadowless's body was filled with black chi, bringing with it a sinister aura. Death Sickle! Shadowless roared. The black sickle formed a terrifying attack, and the sharp blade caused terrifying cracks to appear on the ground. The black wind blade wrapped around Lin Xian. As long as it touched him, it would tear him apart. Even a martial artist in the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier would not be able to block this kind of attack. Lightning storm. Lin Xian activated his spirit power, and a terrifying scene formed within 10 meters. Wind and thunder intertwined, and the wind roared like a lightning tribulation. The two forces collided, sending out a violent energy wave. Violent air waves swept out in all directions. Whew! The overflowing energy quickly spread to the edge of the stage. Everyone felt their chests tighten, unable to block it at all. Whum! Whum! The black stage emitted light, forming a translucent light screen at the edge, blocking the storm on the stage. Everyone let out a sigh of relief and looked at the stage again. The 2-meter-long black sickle formed a terrifying wind blade attack in front of Shadowless. At the same time, he drew a black rune with one hand, forming a black rain of light, attacking Lin Xian. Lin Xian slowly raised the autumn scar sword above his head, and the aura on his body gradually sharpened. Like a divine sword being unsheathed, a monstrous sword intent poured out, accompanied by a dragon's roar. Behind him, a ferocious dragon head was faintly discernible. Sword Qi roared, tearing the air above, and the terrifying sword intent swept out in all directions. At this moment, everyone in the valley looked over, their eyes filled with shock. Sword intent. This is sword intent. Everyone was stunned, and the elder of the Shadow Country's face was extremely gloomy. Sword intent is one of the most terrifying attacks. Lin Xian's aura at this moment had reached an indescribable height. Perhaps no one below the harmonious spirit realm could resist him. Sword intent. What a terrifying sword intent. Lu Qing, Ding Zhe, and the other disciples who were originally unconvinced all fell into a daze. In the distance, Zai Yufei and the other peerless geniuses also showed a serious expression. Dance of Death. Shadowless looked at the figure in front of him, and his body trembled slightly. He gripped the black sickle tightly, and the spirit energy in his body crazily circulated. Dozens of black lights appeared on the surface of his body, and together with the black sickle, they formed a sharp blade light. Whoosh! Whoosh! The sickle spun, bringing with it the aura of death, like a dead person dancing in the night. As the most outstanding disciple of the Dark Shadow Palace, Shadowless used all of his strength at this moment. Lin Xian stood still like a rock, and he felt the danger of death. However, this did not shake his confidence. Wind Thunder Cut! The autumn scar sword fell down, bringing with it the sword intent of a dragon, like a heavenly blade cutting down. The air on both sides was blown back, and a 50-meter wide vacuum was formed in the center. The terrifying sword light instantly drowned the area in front of it. Shadowless also danced with the black sickle, turning into a giant sickle shadow and slashed up. More than half of the arena was flickering, and no one could see clearly, and no one dared to use their soul power. Sword intent was abnormally sharp, and was said to be able to cut through the void, let alone soul power. At the edge of the arena, the translucent light rippled like a bubble, as if it could burst at any time. Everyone subconsciously backed off 3 meters and looked at the arena nervously. After a long while, the sword light disappeared, and the arena became clear again. Everyone looked over impatiently, and all of a sudden, they sucked in a breath of cold air. A terrifying sword mark appeared on the hard ground, and it was more than 30 meters long. Within the crack, there was a figure on the verge of collapse. Chapter 234. There were several sword wounds on Shadowless' body, and one of them even tore his chest apart. On the other hand, Lin Xian stood with his sword in hand, unharmed. With this comparison, it was obvious who was better. When the referee saw this, he immediately announced Lin Xian's victory. This voice echoed in the valley, lingering for a long time. Lin Xian also became the center of attention, becoming the biggest dark horse in this competition. Who would have thought that such a genius would appear in Xia country? Not only was he the youngest second-grade inscriber, but he was also an expert in the way of the sword. Lin Xian's name rang out in the crowd. It was the cheers of Xia country's disciples. At this moment, everyone's hostility towards Lin Xian disappeared. Lin Xian also became their spiritual pillar. Damn it! Who said that Xia country doesn't have any geniuses? I'll fight him. Xia Country's disciples all straightened their backs. He won, he really won. On the spectators' stand, Elder Song and Elder Gu were excited. As for the Dark Shadow Palace's elders, their faces were extremely gloomy. "Bring Shadowless back and treat him," an elder ordered. On the first arena, the heavily injured Shadowless was taken away. Lin Xian also slowly walked down from the arena. In the distance, Ziye's eyes flashed with purple light, carrying a murderous aura. The ethereal young girl, Yu Fei, also had a look of curiosity in her beautiful eyes. At this point, Lin Xian was undoubtedly the first in the first arena, and no one dared to challenge him. Half a day later, the final results were out. The top 3 of the 3 arenas would participate in the finals. On the first arena, the top 3 were Lin Xian, Shadowless, and Duan Fei. Among them, Lin Xian was the biggest dark horse, and Duan Fei was a second-grade inscriber from Rain Country. His strength was stable, and he was a veteran. On the second arena, Ziyi, Jiang Feng, and Ouyang Changming. Although Ouyang Changming lost to Zi, it didn't mean that he wasn't strong. On the contrary, his purple demon eyes that lasted for 10 breaths was enough to prove his strength. In the end, he won 3rd place in Group 2. This was the result of his injury. He believed that, with some adjustments, he would be able to perform even better in the finals. Jiang Feng, on the other hand, was a disciple of Shadow Palace in Shadow Country. His strength was second only to Shadowless. On the number 3 tournament stage, the first place was the ethereal girl Yu Fei, and the second and third place were Yan Bing and Bai Jingshan. The 2 of them were from Rain Country and Shadow Country, respectively. After the group matches ended, 2 people from Xia Country entered the finals. Although they were still at a disadvantage in the 3 kingdoms, it was much better than before. Everyone returned to the stands to rest and prepare for tomorrow's finals. Your performance was very good, but tomorrow's competition will be even more dangerous. You must not let your guard down. Elder Song said, although several disciples of Shadow Country were injured, their overall strength was still formidable. This could be seen from the number of people in the finals. Of the 9 spots, Shadow Country took up 4, which was a full half. And Rain Country could not be underestimated either. That ethereal young girl's performance was extremely stunning and was not inferior to that of Lin Xian. Lin Xian and Ouyang Changming nodded solemnly. Then, the 2 of them began to meditate and rest. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was recalling the battle with Shadowless during the day. That battle gave him new insights, especially in the aspect of the concept of wind, which gave him a deep understanding. This allowed the power of his Wind Emperor's sword to increase again, and even his movement technique had improved. Although he could not completely merge with the wind like Shadowless, his speed was much faster than before. The night was silent. On the second day, the sun rose and illuminated the entire valley. The black platform emitted a faint glow, and the 3 stages merged to form a huge stage. As for the scars on the black ground yesterday, they had completely disappeared. Everyone was amazed, and Lin Xian was also sizing them up curiously. It should be that the formation has an automatic recovery effect, Lord Alcohol said. Lin Xian understood and stopped paying attention. At this moment, the purple-robed elder went on stage again and said loudly, "Now the finals of the Inscription Tower battle begin. The first match, Duan Fei versus Ziyi." Everyone was slightly stunned. They did not expect to see Ziyi fight in the first match. Instantly, the disciples of Shadow Country cheered. On the other hand, the disciples of Rain Country looked worried. "I admit defeat." Duan Fei smiled bitterly. With his strength, he could not resist the purple demon eyes at all. Moreover, the finals were a competition to accumulate points, and the 9 people would fight each other, so preserving his strength was the most important. "You know your place," Ziyi sneered. "Duan Fei is very wise." The elders of Rain Country breathed a sigh of relief. The referee elder smiled and directly announced Ziya's victory. and then he spoke in a deep voice. Next, the second match, Yufei versus Ouyang Changming. It was another heavyweight match. After entering the finals, it could be said that every match was exciting. Elder Ouyang and Elder Song's eyes flashed. They knew that Ouyang Changming's chances of winning were not high. After all, Yufei was a martial artist with the same strength as Yi. Let's see what he chooses. Elder Ouyang's heart was heavy. Without any hesitation, Ouyang Changming chose to fight. Elder Ouyang was gratified, but then he became nervous. Although he was satisfied with Ouyang Changming's decision, the battle situation was not optimistic. The ethereal girl in a blue dress was like a fairy descending to the mortal world, without a trace of worldly aura. On the opposite side, Ouyang Changming's face was a little pale, but his eyes were unusually firm. Traceless spring rain. Yufei's lotus-like arms waved, forming ripples in the air. An inexplicable power gushed out, spreading out like water ripples. Chi-chi, a trace of ripples touched the ground, and suddenly a small hole appeared. There was soul power contained in it. An elder exclaimed in a low voice. Lin Xian felt the killing intent in the ripples and frowned slightly. It was obvious that the ethereal girl's inscription technique had reached a terrifying level, and she could fuse her inscription into her attacks. Soul Rampart! Ouyang Changming shouted in a low voice, and his soul power fused into his spiritual armor, forming a double defense. At the same time his body moved, and he quickly rushed towards the ethereal girl. Eagle soars the sky. Ouyang Changming slashed out with a saber, and the saber light surged like a waterfall, slashing towards the ethereal girl. So. The ethereal girl's palm moved, and a blue ribbon flew out, carrying a weak feeling, like a cloud floating out. Like a spirit snake, the blue ribbon wrapped around the long saber. Stormy waves hitting the shore. The ethereal girl waved out a move, and her aura changed greatly. From the original spring rain, it turned into a raging storm in an instant, with the momentum of rocks piercing through the sky. A vast amount of energy gushed out like a wave, crashing onto Ouyang Changming's body. Pung, pung, pung. There were a total of 3 waves, crazily roaring, rushing forward, and forming a superimposed power. Puff! Ouyang Changming's long saber loosened, and his body flew out. What a terrifying power! He was shocked in his heart. The surrounding disciples were also shocked. The 3 waves were like real waves, dozens of meters high, surging in the air. This scene made the group of disciples feel powerless. Chapter 235. Although the ethereal girl wasn't like Z, who could kill with a glance, she still finished off her opponent in 2 or 3 moves. Just as everyone was still in shock, the referee's voice rang out again. Next match, Lin Xian versus Bai Jingshan. Everyone's hearts were burning again, especially the disciples of Xia Country, who looked at Lin Xian with anticipation. Xia Country had a total of 2 people who entered the finals, and Ouyang Changming's strength was obviously second tier. So, Lin Xian once again became the focus of everyone's attention. Bai Jingshan was a slightly chubby youth, holding a semicircular curved blade. Haha, let me see how sharp your sword intent is. Bai Jingshan's words had a hint of arrogance. Just as everyone was confused, a blinding light lit up. A light yellow armor appeared on Bai Jingshan's body, covering his vitals. Dark rank treasure. Everyone's heart jumped. No wonder he's so arrogant. So he has a dark rank treasure. Humph. Let's see what Lin Xian will do this time. I don't believe he can break a dark rank treasure. Shadow Country's disciples sneered. Bai Jingshan was pleased. This treasure armor was given to him by the sex elders last night, and its purpose was to defend against terrifying attacks like sword intent. As long as he could block the sword intent attack, then wouldn't Lin Xian be at his mercy? No matter what, he was a second-grade inscription master and a martial artist in the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, so he still had this bit of confidence. Lin Xian is in danger. Nothing must happen to him. Xia Country's disciples were worried. Dark, rank treasure armor? Lin Xian was stunned. Haha! Bai Jingshan saw this scene and laughed proudly. Lin Xian, without the threat of sword intent, you're nothing. Idiot! Lin Xian said indifferently. What, you dare to scold me? You're courting death. Bai Jingshan was so angry that he stomped his feet, and the crescent-shaped, curved blade glowed with a cold light as it slashed out quickly. To deal with you, I don't need to use a sword. Lin Xian squatted in a horse stance, took a deep breath, and then punched out. It was as if a thunderbolt had suddenly appeared. Lightning flashed all over the sky, forming a 20-meter-long lightning dragon. There were golden scales on its body, and they looked very lifelike. Roar! With a dragon roar, the lightning dragon pounced towards Bai Jingshan. Everywhere it passed, everything was charred black. Rumble! In the blink of an eye, Bai Jingshan was sent flying while screaming. Plop! The slightly chubby young man was lying on the ground. His entire body was charred black, and blood was flowing out from the corner of his mouth. You! Bai Jingshan crawled up with great difficulty. The moment he opened his mouth, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Everyone shook their heads slightly. This was clearly a sign of internal injuries, especially those disciples of the Shadow Kingdom. It was as if a basin of cold water had been poured over their heads. They were in an exceptionally sorry state. Even if Senior Brother Lin doesn't use sword intent, not everyone can contend against him. That's right. Even if you have a tortoise shell, it won't be able to withstand that power. The disciples of the great Xia country were in a good mood and began to mock him. Indeed, after Lin Xian cultivated the Copper Thunder Mark, the power of his fists alone wasn't something a normal martial artist in the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier could withstand. In addition, he had used enough spirit power just now, and his body was covered with golden lightning. This kind of power was something a normal martial artist in the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier couldn't withstand. The competition continued. The 9 strong martial artists took turns to fight. The injuries on Shadowless' body were mostly healed. He must have taken precious pills and was treated by a harmonious spirit tier martial artist. His opponent was Rain Country's Yan Bing, who was also a young girl. Whoosh! Shadowless used his ultimate skill as soon as he got on the stage and disappeared. Yan Bing could only defend carefully. Her body was covered with tiny water droplets, forming several water curtains. Dance of Death! A huge black sickle suddenly appeared, bringing with it a terrifying aura as it slashed towards Yan Bing. Ka! The water curtains in front of her shattered like mirrors. A black light slashed onto Yan Bing's body. The huge power made Yan Bing fly out on the spot and fall to the side. Winner, Shadowless, the referee said expressionlessly. The spectators were in an uproar. He actually dared to attack such a beautiful young girl. He was indeed a madman. The disciples of Rain Country all had cold looks on their faces as they stared at Shadowless. Lin Xian's eyes flashed and he sighed. Shadowless' body movement was powerful. Normal people couldn't catch him at all. If he hadn't comprehended the Wind Emperor's sword and learned the wind blending style, he probably wouldn't have been able to defeat Shadowless in a short period of time. The finals went on very quickly. Almost all the battles were decided within a few moves. Soon, the first round was over, and the second round continued. Ouyang Chongming met Zi as soon as he got on the stage. Many people sighed for Ouyang Chongming in their hearts. This guy was too unlucky. All his opponents were top-notch martial artists. I admit defeat. Ouyang Chongming's voice carried a trace of helplessness. He didn't dare to fight Zi. If he suffered another soul attack, he probably wouldn't be able to continue the competition. Next was the battle between Yufei and Shadowless. Everyone was interested. They all wanted to see who else besides Lin Xian could restrain shadowless body movement. Little girl, admit defeat obediently. Shadowless sneered and disappeared. Whoosh! A huge scythe suddenly appeared on the left side of the ethereal girl. The black blade quickly slashed out. Whoosh! The blue ribbon spun in the air, forming a suction force that caused the blade to deviate from its direction. Ocean Heart Palm. With a wave of her hand, the waves roared and rushed over. Whoosh! Shadowless quickly disappeared and merged with the wind again. Humph! The ethereal girl snorted coldly and turned her body slightly. The blue ribbon in her hand emitted a faint light. With the ethereal girl as the center, waves rushed out in all directions. It was like 10,000 horses galloping. The speed was extremely fast. The entire arena was filled with waves. Shadowless couldn't hide it all and was forced out. Boundless ocean. The ethereal girl's palm emitted a blue light, forming a light pillar that sent Shadowless flying. Yufei wins, the referee said loudly. Everyone looked at the ethereal girl with respect again. Although it wasn't as sharp as Lin Xian's sword intent, the ethereal girl's strength was undeniable. So far, other than Lin Xian, who was the only one who could defeat Shadowless. Next, Ziyi and Lin Xian went up one after the other and defeated their opponents in one move. Soon, the second round was over. Half a day later, the fifth round was over. During this time, there were victories and defeats. However, only 3 people maintained a complete victory. They were Lin Xian, Ziyi, and Yufei. The 3 of them had no defeats along the way. The 6th round began, and the competition progressed quickly. Lin Xian versus Shadowless. The referee's voice sounded. Everyone was stunned and looked at the 2 people in the arena. Is sword intent going to appear again? The disciples of the great Xia were looking forward to it. In the first 5 rounds, Lin Xian didn't use sword intent at all, which disappointed them. But now they could see sword intent again. Humph! Shadowless looked at Lin Xian with anger in his eyes. It was all because of this kid in front of him that he was seriously injured. As a result, he couldn't use his full strength in today's finals. Thinking of this, hatred grew in his heart. Sword intent? Shadowless sneered. After yesterday's lesson, he was like the chubby young man. He was wearing a dark level armor. This kind of defense couldn't be broken by sword intent. On the other hand, Lin Xian, who had lost his sword will, had nothing to fear. Whoosh! Shadowless disappeared in a flash. Chapter 236. This time, Shadowless seems to be very confident. Could it be that he has a plan? Everyone was filled with anticipation, especially the disciples of the Dark Shadow Palace. With the Autumn Scar sword in his hand, Lin Xian slashed out. The sword pattern was like a sound wave spreading out. Within a radius of 50 meters, the sharp sword wave formed a spherical attack. TSK! 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 Just as Shadowless was about to get close, he was forcefully pushed back by the wind-thunder sword wave. Stumbling, Shadowless's face was filled with fear once again. The surrounding disciples were also in an uproar. This time, Lin Xian broke through Shadowless's movement technique even faster than the previous time. What Shadowless movement technique? It's nothing in front of senior brother Lin. The disciples of the Xia mocked mercilessly. Lin Xian chuckled. The Wind Monarch stabbed out with his sword, infused with a soul attack, and made Shadowless spit out blood. Everyone was silent. It seemed like Shadowless was no match for Lin Xian at all. As for Lin Xian's reputation, it increased once again. Right now, Lin Xian, Zi, and Yufei had formed a tripartite balance of power. The 3 of them maintained their victories, and no one could beat them. Obviously, the top 3 would belong to the 3 of them. However, no one could be sure who would be the champion. Of course, if they won all 8 rounds, they would naturally be the champion. Ziyi was a veteran expert. Adding on his creepy purple demon eyes, his reputation would be much higher than the other 2. In the next round, the atmosphere was pushed to the extreme. Next round, Ziyi versus Yufei. The judge announced. The battle between the 3 experts was finally about to begin. Everyone was filled with anticipation as they looked at the arena with fiery eyes. Little Beauty, just admit defeat. Ziyi immediately launched a powerful soul attack. Purple light flashed in his eyes as he stabbed towards Yufei. Although he was arrogant, his attacks were very sharp. Purple demon eyes. Yufei's expression was cold as blue waves appeared around her. Layer after layer, they wrapped around her. Blue ocean mirror. Her spiritual power surged, and the shadow in front of her suddenly became real. A 2-meter-tall blue mirror appeared in front of Yufei. Cold light flashed, and it was as smooth as ice. Ding ding! A low sound of collision rang out, like a silver needle hitting ice. 2 small holes appeared on the surface of the blue mirror, but they did not penetrate it. Yufei stood behind the blue sea mirror with a smile on her face. Everyone was stunned, and their minds went blank. He did not expect that Purple Knight's ocular art, which had always been successful, actually failed. Impossible. Senior Brother Ziyi's attack is a soul attack. How could a mere mirror block it? The people from the Purple Extreme Devil Palace screamed, unable to believe what they were seeing. Hua Yen stood in the crowd, her face slightly pale. She knew how terrifying Ziyi was, but the scene before her gave her a surreal feeling. Not only them, but the elders also cried out in surprise. The elders of Rain Country were all stroking their beards, smiling as they looked at the field. Lin Xian's eyes flashed as he stared intently at the cold and dazzling surface of the mirror. His brows furrowed slightly. It wasn't as simple as it seemed on the surface. That was all he could see at the moment. In the arena, Ziyi's expression was gloomy as he stared coldly ahead. That scene made him feel a sense of astonishment. It's actually blocked? Ziyi's heart was in turmoil. Then, his gaze gradually sharpened. The purple light formed a strange pattern, but it was somewhat hazy. Hallucination. The strange pattern in his eyes spun, bringing with it a strange power. Ziyi looked at Yufei. Bang bang. Bang bang. His gaze passed through the blue sea mirror and was imprinted in Yufei's eyes. In an instant, Yufei felt absent-minded, as if her soul had entered another space. She furrowed her brows and attacked with her soul power. She also bit the tip of her tongue. Her body trembled slightly, and Yufei quickly regained her clarity. Mirror image. Yufei stretched out her palm and pressed it on the blue sea mirror in front of her, circulating her spiritual power. Wong wong. A faint light appeared on the smooth surface of the mirror, and a blurry figure appeared in the mirror. The figure was as blurry as mist, but his eyes were glowing with purple light. That's Senior Brother Ziyi? Although the figure was blurry, the people from the Purple Extreme Devil Palace still recognized it at a glance. It was actually 60 to 70% similar to Ziyi. Humph. Do you think you can resist Senior Brother Ziyi just by creating a human figure? How naive. Admit defeat obediently. The disciples of the Purple Extreme Devil Palace hooted from below. Lin Xian furrowed his brows. His eyes flashed as he carefully observed everything on the stage. He felt that it wouldn't be so simple. As expected, the eyes of the figure in the mirror turned and met the real Ziyi's eyes. Whoa! An invisible power surged out. Ziyi's body trembled, and a trace of panic appeared in his eyes. Impossible! How can you use hallucination? He was panicking. His eye technique was actually used by his opponent, and he almost fell for it. These eye techniques were the ultimate skills of the Purple Extreme Devil Palace. Without the corresponding secret technique, outsiders couldn't use them at all. But now, someone was using them forcibly. With his shout, everyone was shocked. The elders on the spectators' stand also exclaimed. Several old men from the purple extreme devil palace sat together. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. What kind of martial technique is this? I've never seen it in Rain Country. No wonder the elders of Rain Country are so calm. So they have this kind of technique. Calm down. Ziyi is a genius of our purple extreme devil palace. It's impossible for him to lose. Moreover, don't you know what's so special about him? The elder in the middle said in a low voice. We've searched for so many years, and only found one who fits the requirements. Only he could unleash the full power of the purple extreme devil eyes. Yufei's counterattack, indeed, shocked everyone. That blue mirror seemed to be a real mirror. Not only could it reflect a person's figure, it could also copy the technique. Yes, copy. This was Lin Xian's feeling. It's somewhat similar to the great dragon sword seal. Lin Xian muttered in a low voice. The great dragon sword seal was an offensive saint technique. It could simulate and evolve everything. He had a trace of the sword seal, and could also simulate the opponent's technique, but the core was still based on his own attributes, and the ethereal girl's technique was a complete copy. How much of the original strength does the copied martial technique have? I need to personally experience it. Lin Xian wasn't too sure, but one thing was for sure. The power was definitely not weak. Otherwise, you wouldn't have such an expression. I seem to feel a trace of bloodline power, Lord Alcohol suddenly said. Bloodline. Lin Xian was slightly stunned. He had never heard of it before. Although it's very weak, it's the power of bloodline, Lord Alcohol said slowly after sensing it. I didn't expect to see the power of bloodline here, and it's a very special kind. Xiao Xuanzi, if you go up against him, you have to be careful, Lord Alcohol reminded. Chapter 237. Yufei's martial arts technique shocked everyone. Copying someone else's martial arts technique, this kind of thing, was appalling. However, just as everyone was discussing animatedly, Z moved. He was like a purple shooting star, rushing towards Yufei at lightning speed. With a wave of his palm, a row of purple palm shadows joined together, surging towards the blue sea mirror with violent energy. Ye's target was the blue sea mirror. As long as he could shatter this mirror, then he would be able to use eye techniques. His speed was very fast, and he was about to touch the blue sea mirror. And at this time another change occurred. In the mirror, that blurry figure also waved out a row of palm shadows. The palm wind was fierce, surging towards Z. Hung Long Long. Two similar palm shadows collided, forming a dazzling ball of light and terrifying energy swept out in all directions. Whoosh! Ye's face was gloomy, but he did not give up. Since he couldn't shatter the mirror, then he would change direction and attack Yufei herself. On the arena, purple afterimages were left behind, like ghosts and demons. Yi quickly circled behind Yufei and shot out a purple rainbow that was several meters long. The air vibrated, and the rainbow was like a flickering light, quickly slashing over. Wang. Yufei's small face was slightly cold, and her body once again emitted a dazzling light. Behind her, another blue sea mirror formed, and at the same time, another smooth mirror appeared beside her. The three blue sea mirrors formed a triangle and surrounded Yufei, forming the most perfect defense. Yi was blocked, and his body quickly floated backwards. For a moment, the two were in a deadlock, and no one could do anything to the other. How to fight like this? She's in an invincible position. The surrounding disciples' faces were ugly. If there was no way to break the blue sea mirror, then no one could hurt Yufei. This was the dilemma that all the competitors would face. Could it be that it will end in a draw? The Shadow Country's disciples' faces were ugly. They did not believe that Ziyi would lose. Come out and fight if you have the ability. What kind of ability is hiding behind a mirror? The Purple Extreme Demon Palace's disciples hooted. Idiot, you can't even break the mirror, and you still have the face to call yourself number one. The Rain Country's disciples retorted mercilessly. This battle will end in a draw. The referee analyzed the situation and said indifferently, No, it's not over yet. Ziyi's face darkened. He slowly said, I won't lose to anyone. After rejecting a draw, Ziyi's aura gradually became stronger. His purple hair became even more demonic, emitting a faint glow. An indescribable power gushed out from his body, causing his aura to double. As for the surrounding disciples, they felt a wave of pressure that caused the aura within their bodies to churn. It's so uncomfortable. What happened? Some of the weaker disciples turned pale. Lin Xian also felt a wave of pressure. It was as if his body was instinctively trembling. Humph! With a cold snort, the great dragon sword in his body resonated. The dragon pattern on the mysterious little sword emitted a light, and the head of the huge dragon seemed to be real. In an instant, the uncomfortable pressure disappeared. The power of bloodline. I didn't expect another person with the power of bloodline. Lord Alcohol exclaimed, Is this the power of the bloodline? Lin Xian recalled the palpitating pressure from before, and a trace of vigilance appeared in his heart. This Ziyi was more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. Aside from him, some of the older generation elders on the spectators' stand also revealed shocked expressions. On Rain Country's side, an old man in white robes spoke with a trembling voice. It's actually the power of bloodline. I wonder how it compares to Yufei's? Damn it. How could someone from Purple Extreme Demon Palace have the power of bloodline? Just as Rain Country was filled with shock and anger, the Shadow Country's elders also had serious expressions. To actually be able to make Ziyi use the power of bloodline, it seems like the opponent is really not simple. Both of them have the power of bloodline. Then let's see whose bloodline is stronger. The Purple Extreme Demon Palace's elder said in a low voice. After activating the power of bloodline, Ziyi seemed to have changed into a different person, emitting a powerful aura. In his eyes, there was a sense of confidence, as if no one could stop him. Feeling Ziyi's pressure, Yufei, who was opposite him, no longer hid. Water-like patterns appeared on her body, and a water, droplet-shaped rune appeared between her brows. So this is the power of bloodline? It's really powerful. Lin Xian felt the two's auras and took a deep breath. In the arena, Ziyi launched a powerful attack. This time, the blue sea mirror could not be replicated. Spiritual power surged. Palm shadows filled the air, and the two fought together. Ziyi should be using a bloodline technique. This kind of martial technique can only be used by the corresponding bloodline and cannot be replicated, Lord Alcohol explained. Lin Xian nodded. No wonder the blue sea mirror failed. It seemed that the power of bloodline was really mysterious. In the future, you will find that martial artists with the power of bloodline are the real powerful existences in this world. Lord Alcohol said slowly, But you don't have to be discouraged. If you can find the great dragon sword, then there is no bloodline in this world that can resist you. Great dragon, sword, bloodline. Lin Xian murmured. This world is really exciting. He was not afraid. On the contrary, a fighting spirit surged out from his body. The great dragon sword intent seemed to sense this fighting spirit and let out a dragon roar. In the arena, the two were locked in battle. Ziyi used his purple demon eyes, hoping to heavily injure Yufei. However, the water droplet rune at Yufei's glabella protected her soul very well, not giving Ziyi any chance. Everyone shook their heads. It seemed that the victor would not be decided in a short period of time. All right, this match is a draw, the referee said in a deep voice. Bam! The two exchanged a palm strike and separated once again. This time, Ziyi did not say anything. He had used all his trump cards after using the power of bloodline, but he still failed to finish off his opponent. Furthermore, this was not the last round, so there was no need for him to risk his life. Humph! With a cold snort, Ziyi walked down the arena with a sullen face. The rest of the match was somewhat boring. Everyone was still immersed in the battle between Ziyi and Yufei. They yearned for the power of bloodline. However, this kind of power was not something that anyone could possess. The power of bloodline was more like an inheritance. It was said that only a peerless expert from the ancestors could mutate the bloodline and pass down such power. For a moment, Ziyi and Yufei's fame surpassed everyone, reaching the peak. After the 6th round ended, Lin Xian maintained a complete victory, while Ziyi and Yufei had a draw. Among the 9 participating disciples, Lin Xian was in the lead. However, everyone was not optimistic about Lin Xian. With 2 great bloodline inheritors around, the others had no chance of winning at all. The Purple Demon Palace's disciples looked at Lin Xian with cold smiles on their faces. What's the use of a complete victory now? When he meets senior apprentice brother Z later, he'll definitely be defeated. Yeah, senior apprentice brother Z is a bloodline inheritor. Dealing with that brat surnamed Lin is as easy as stretching his hand. Chapter 238. The disciples of Xia country were worried. After witnessing the power of the bloodline, they felt powerless. I wonder if Lin Xian has the bloodline power. They all looked at Lin Xian with hope. Are you kidding? What do you think bloodline power is? Cabbage? There might not even be one in the entire Xia country. The disciples of Shadow country said mercilessly. Indeed, the bloodline power was pitifully rare. Only a small number of people had it. Lin Xian, on the other hand, had yet to display any bloodline power. Lin Xian's complete victory made Ziyi very unhappy. In his opinion, Lin Xian was just lucky to not meet him. Otherwise, he would not have won. Under everyone's anticipation, the 7th round began. The first round, Lin Xian against Ziyi. As soon as the referee's voice sounded, the entire valley boiled. The disciples of Shadow Country all laughed with arrogant looks. You're all waiting to die if you meet Senior Brother Z. Senior Brother Z, ye can kill Lin in a second with a glance. The disciples of Xia Country looked at Lin Xian worriedly. But after seeing Lin Xian's calm face, their hearts calmed down a lot. In the stands, Elder Song and Elder Gu became nervous again. Lin Xian was their last hope. But Ziyi's strength was beyond their expectations. At least, they did not think that Lin Xian could defeat Ziyi, who had the bloodline power. You don't have to win. You just have to stay in the top 3, Elder Song said slowly. But he did not know that Lin Xian's goal was to be first, because only first place would get the soul-amassing pill. In the arena, Ziyi looked at the handsome youth opposite him, and the corners of his mouth curled into a sinister smile. Your good luck has come to an end. My competition has always been based on strength. I believe you will know soon. Lin Xian smiled indifferently. Hearing this, Ziyi's face darkened. You're still stubborn when you're at death's door. I'll let you see my power. Purple demon eyes. Purple light flickered in Ziyi's eyes. Within that purple light, there was a trace of soul power that contained a terrifying amount of energy. Sword Spirit Space. Lin Xian did not dare to be careless and hurriedly used his ultimate move. Runes appeared in his right eye, forming a unique spiritual space that enveloped violet night. Buzz! Boom! The 2 invisible forces collided in the air, almost tearing the void apart. A translucent mushroom cloud rose into the air, and a terrifying wave of energy spread out in all directions. In the eyes of the crowd, The two of them had only looked at each other, and it had already created such a terrifying aura. Impossible! How can he resist Senior Brother Z, Yez, purple blood demon eyes? That's a secret technique of the Purple Extreme Devil Palace. Even Z Yi had a look of surprise. His move was extremely powerful, and among these disciples, only Yufei could resist it. However, the young man in front of him was able to resist it. The purple demon eyes is only SOSO. Show me what other moves you have. Lin Xian coldly shouted, runes flashing in his eyes. He had fought with Ru Shui and Hua Yan before, so he was very familiar with the purple demon eyes. It was not difficult for Lin Xian to deal with it. Purple demon light. Z Ye's attack failed, so he attacked again. 2 rays of light materialized and flew toward Lin Xian, like sword rays. Each ray was more than a meter long and as thick as an arm. They were covered in purple gas. Lightning flash. Lin Xian pulled his hands together, and several rays of lightning appeared in his palms, with golden arcs dancing on them. Like sharp lightning blades, the golden rings of lightning rushed toward the blood-colored light beam. Chi! The two merged, and the golden rings of lightning dissipated most of the blood-colored light beam's power before disappearing. Lin Xian quickly dodged the remaining small portion of the attacks. It's time to taste my attack. Lin Xian took a step forward, and his body disappeared from the spot. The air fluctuated slightly, and a figure appeared faintly, moving at an extremely fast speed. Is this the concept of wind? Shadowless's pupils shrank. Although Lin Xian could not completely merge with the wind like him, this dance was exactly the same as his Shadowless step. How did he do it? Shadowless was shocked, but he could not understand. Lin Xian's speed was extremely fast, and he arrived in front of Ziyi in the blink of an eye. Copper lightning runes appeared on his body, and he punched out. It was a simple punch without any fancy moves, and it went straight for Ziya's heart. The air trembled, and cracks appeared on the ground, as if it could not withstand the power. Lin Xian was like the god of thunder, and the power of lightning that made people's hearts tremble instantly exploded. Ziya's pupils shrank, and he hurriedly blocked, forming several purple spirit energy walls in front of him. Boom! Boom! It was as if thunder had descended from the ninth heaven, shaking the ninth heaven. The entire arena trembled slightly, and the air exploded from the impact. Ziya's spirit energy walls were instantly shattered. However, this was enough. In the blink of an eye, he had already shot out the purple demon light. This time, he even used a trace of the power of his bloodline, and the power increased several times. 2 light pillars rushed towards Lin Xian and collided with a lightning fist. Break for me! Lin Xian threw out several punches in succession, forming a lightning shadow in the air. Every punch carried the power of the lightning from the 9 heavens, and it blasted forward. It was like a sword colliding with a sword, and it made a metallic sound. The 2 of them each took a few steps back, and the ground trembled. Bloodline power! Ziyi was furious when he found that Lin Xian could contend with him. The blood in his body boiled, and it emitted an astonishing power. A breath that made people's hearts palpitate surged from his body. It's here, the power of bloodline. The surrounding disciples of the Shadow Country shouted loudly, as if they had seen the dawn of victory. The disciples of the Great Xia Country had their hearts in the air. Great dragon soared intent. Lin Xian did not dare to be careless. He knew how powerful the power of bloodline was. Only by using all his strength would he have a chance of winning. With the Autumn Scar sword in hand, Lin Xian's aura reached a new height. Like a divine sword being unsheathed, it was unstoppable. Behind him, a dragon-shaped long sword was faintly discernible. Sword drawing technique. The long sword was unsheathed, and it carried the power of wind and thunder. It formed a sword chi that was dozens of meters long in the air, and it slashed toward Z. At the same time, Zi's eyes shone with a terrifying light. It was like two light pillars that swept out in all directions. Clang! Clang! An ear-piercing sound rang out, as if thousands of swords were clashing together. The clouds in the sky were pierced. The air in the surroundings was boiling, rolling like the waves of the sea. Some of the disciples who were close to the arena all felt their blood boil, and they fell to the ground. Back off! These people backed off in fear, and they left the arena. Lin Xian pulled out his sword, and he waved it continuously. Every sword had the power to split mountains, and it formed a sword screen in the air. Fall! Thousands of sword lights flashed, and they pressed toward Z. Before the sword chi arrived, countless sword marks had already appeared on the ground. Purple comes from the east. Z Yi pushed his bloodline power to the extreme, and his body shone with a sun-like light. Every ray of purple light was like a divine spear, piercing into the air and clashing with the sword chi in the air. Chapter 239. Ka! 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 The blood-colored pillar of light carried an endless pressure as it swept out in all directions, pushing back the sword chi in the sky. Ha! Senior Brother Purple Knight is mighty! The power of bloodline is invincible. The disciples of Purple Extreme Demon Palace shouted loudly, their voices shaking the heavens. Even the older generation's eyelids twitched as they exclaimed inwardly, I'm afraid only Yufei can contend against him, an elder of Rain Country said in a low voice. Lin Xian was hit by the blood-colored pillar of light, and his body kept retreating. At the same time, the lightning pattern shone brightly, and only then did he disperse the power. What terrifying power! Lin Xian's heart sank. Only after exchanging blows did he truly feel the terror of bloodline power. And according to Lord Alcohol, this was only the thinnest bloodline power. His bloodline power can't be used for a long time, so I'll wear him out first. Lin Xian stabbed out with his sword, using the fusion wind style to attack Purple Knight. Suddenly, countless rays of sword chi surged out from all directions, forming a cross that strangled him. Purple Knight's whole body was enveloped in blood chi, and his aura was exuberant. Every move contained terrifying power. With a wave of his palm, it formed a purple light palm that was several meters tall and blasted out in all directions. At the same time, his body flew out like a shooting star, taking the initiative to approach Lin Xian. Purple Knight didn't want to continue like this. He wanted to conserve his battle power so that he could fight Yufei again. Like a purple phantom, Purple Knight attacked like lightning. The light in his eyes intertwined into a purple-red net that enveloped Lin Xian. At the same time, he attacked with both hands, sending out two huge palm shadows that continuously bombarded Lin Xian. In an instant, Lin Xian's three directions were all attacked, and the space was about to explode from the pressure. Lin Xian's face darkened, and he could only retreat. But he couldn't retreat. Through his soul power, he could already feel that Purple Knight's aura was getting stronger and stronger, and this aura directly affected both sides' battle power. He couldn't let Purple Knight continue to be so tyrannical. Moreover, as a swordsman, he would rather break than bend, and it was even more impossible for him to retreat. Sword light flashed in his eyes, and Lin Xian raised his sword horizontally, lightly stabbing out. The wind was light and the clouds were light, as if it was a casual sword strike. However, everyone felt a chill in their hearts, as if they had been stabbed. Wind Emperor's sword. Lin Xian ignored the palms of light on both sides. His eyes only focused on Violet Night. This sword contained 50% of the Wind Emperor's power. It was one of Lin Xian's strongest attacks. Chi. The sword light flashed past like a fleeting shadow. It was extremely fast. The light palms on both sides were severed at the waist, turning into fragments and dissipating. The purple-red light pillar in front was also blocked. It was a light sword, but it was as heavy as 10,000 pounds. The surrounding wind seemed to have merged into the sword, and a vacuum appeared in front of it. Cracks appeared on the purplish-red pillar of light, and Violet Knight's aura was blocked. "You can't stop it!" Yi roared as he exerted more strength in his body. His bloodline aura grew even stronger as a blood-red light enveloped the entire area. In the distance, the ethereal girl Yufei's expression also changed when she felt this bloodline power. What a powerful bloodline! She sighed slightly. Even she had to use all her strength to deal with such an attack. How could Lin Xian, who didn't have any bloodline power, block it? Facing such a sharp attack, Lin Xian's eyes revealed a trace of determination. He gripped the Autumn Scar sword tightly and pushed his sword intent to the extreme. A terrifying dragon head appeared behind him, and a dragon's roar resounded. Outer Sky Flying Star. Lin Xian didn't hesitate to use his spiritual energy and used an ultimate move that he hadn't used in a long time. He had been practicing this move every day. Its power was above the Wind Emperor's sword, but it consumed too much energy. Under normal circumstances, Lin Xian wouldn't use it. However, he couldn't care less right now. As the sword light flashed, Lin Xian was like a shooting star as he quickly streaked across the sky, leaving a trail of light behind him. Chi! Peng! Ka! The blood-red light pillar was knocked away, and a crack appeared on one of them. Violet Knight, on the other hand, was in even more danger. This sword was clearly aimed at him. With his life in danger, he couldn't care less about hiding anymore. The blood in his body surged, forming a blood-red armor to protect his vitals. Pung! The long sword pierced 3 centimeters into the armor, and the powerful impact sent Violet Knight flying. Pooh! Violet Knight flew 30 meters in the air before he was sent flying by a powerful force. He landed on the ground in a sorry state, and countless cracks appeared on the ground. Hua! Everyone was stunned. Even someone as strong as Violet Knight was sent flying after using his bloodline power. Impossible! How is this possible? How can the Lin guy know this kind of martial skill? The group was stunned. In the distance, Yufei also frowned. This scene was beyond her expectations. You dare to hurt me? Violet Knight crawled up from the ground and roared crazily. Who was he? He was the eldest disciple of the Purple Extreme Demon Palace, and the owner of a bloodline power. Before this, he had never taken anyone seriously. However, not long ago, a young girl displayed a bloodline power that was as strong as his, and he fought her to a draw. But now, a person without bloodline power had actually knocked him to the ground. This was something he couldn't accept. I'm going to tear you to pieces, and I'm going to make you suffer the pain of your soul burning. Violet Knight's face was twisted, and his voice was filled with endless killing intent. His bloodline power surged madly into his eyes, turning his purple pupils blood red. Soul fire! A deep voice rang out, as if it came from the netherworld. Everyone's heart trembled, and they felt as if their souls were being burned. Could it be that kind of secret technique? The disciples of the Purple Extreme Demon Palace were shocked. Hua Yan's beautiful face was also filled with shock. She had heard of this secret technique before, but it was said that no one in the younger generation could use it. I didn't expect him to be able to use this kind of secret technique. The elders in the stands were also shocked. The ones with the ugliest expressions were Elder Song and Elder Gu. The two of them knew how terrifying the soul fire was. It was simply the bane of souls. Lin Xian, admit defeat. The two of them prayed in their hearts. They didn't want anything to happen to Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian didn't show the fear that they had imagined. He even smiled faintly. Soul fire, huh? Back then, Lord Alcohol had dissected several inscriptions from the stone eyeball, and one of them was the soul fire. However, Lin Xian had used it in the form of the soul sword. He had thought that the soul sword would be more powerful when combined with the great dragon's sword intent. However, the fusion hadn't succeeded yet, but Lin Xian had mastered the soul sword. His left eye flashed, and his soul power formed an invisible sword that circled around him. Whoosh! A ball of soul fire suddenly appeared, trying to burn his soul, but it was instantly extinguished by the soul sword. Violet Knight's pupils shrank. He could feel his soul fire being extinguished, and it made him very uneasy. The soul fire could burn any expert below the harmonious spirit realm. Its power was unimaginable. However, Lin Xian was unharmed, and he even extinguished the soul fire. This is impossible. Violet Knight couldn't control the fear in his heart and screamed. Chapter 240. The audience was in an uproar when they found out the truth. To be able to resist even the soul fire, this was already beyond their imagination. Could it be that Lin Xian is the strongest? Such a thought suddenly appeared in everyone's minds. Zi Yi had to use his bloodline power to fight to a draw with Lin Xian. Even his soul fire couldn't hurt him. I don't believe you can block it a second time. Zi Ye's face darkened as he activated his soul fire again. The runes in Lin Xian's eyes moved as he also used his strongest soul attack, Soul Sword. The formless sword energy collided with the flames and fused with each other. In the end, they both turned into dust. Seeing this, everyone was completely convinced of Lin Xian's strength. It was definitely not luck that he could extinguish the soul fire twice in a row. In the distance, the ethereal girl Yufei looked at the arena with a serious expression. Lin Xian's strength was enough to threaten her. This made her feel uneasy. In the arena, Zi Ye's eyes revealed a trace of confusion. How can I lose? I can't lose. In the next moment, the confusion in his eyes was replaced by viciousness. His eyes once again bloomed with a blood-red light. Secret technique, Blood Eye World. Zi used all his strength to roar. Lin Xian's mind shook as if it was being sucked away by a strange power. The scene changed, and the surroundings became a sea of blood and mountains of bones. This is my bloodline world. I am the absolute ruler here. Zi Ye's voice was filled with hatred. I will torture you to death bit by bit. Blood Eye Ghost General, come out. Lin Xian was nailed to the ground, unable to move. Sinister, humanoid creatures appeared around him. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws as they pounced over. The formless sword energy swept past, and the humanoid creatures were all cut in half. Lin Xian kept trying to fuse the soul sword with the great dragon's sword intent, and finally succeeded on the 13th try. Dragon Soul Sword. Lin Xian shouted. A dragon's roar rang out. The formless sword energy turned into an azure dragon that soared into the sky, crashing into the entire space. As if a heavenly blade had slashed across, the Blood Eye world cracked and then shattered. Ah! A pained cry sounded out as Violet Knight's body trembled. Large amounts of blood flowed out of his left eye, looking extremely terrifying. My eyes! You destroyed my Blood Eye world. Zi Yi covered his eyes and gasped for breath. He was afraid. That was his strongest attack, yet it still couldn't beat Lin Xian. Not only that, but his eyes were also severely injured. All right, that's enough. Violet Knight admits defeat. A dignified voice rang out with a hint of anger. Everyone looked over and saw an elder from the Purple Extreme Devil Palace, speaking with a gloomy expression. Lin Xian wins. The referee took a deep breath and announced slowly. The audience was in an uproar, and many disciples of the Shadow Country were dumbfounded. Zi Yi, whom they worshipped, had actually been defeated. Furthermore, He had been defeated by a disciple of China. It was hard for them to accept such a situation. As for the Xia country's disciples, they were so excited that they danced with joy. To be able to defeat Shadow Country's most powerful genius, they couldn't be happier. As for the Rain country's disciples, they had complicated expressions. Although Ziye's defeat made them happy, Lin Xian had become their greatest enemy. In the stands, Elder Song and Elder Gu clapped and laughed. They hadn't been so happy in a long time. Brilliant, too brilliant. China is really lucky to have Lin Xian. In the distance, the elders of the Purple Extreme Devil Palace had gloomy expressions, and a hint of killing intent appeared in their eyes. This kind of genius can't be allowed to live. Of course, this kind of thing had to be done secretly, and they couldn't let the Inscription Alliance get hold of it. On the stage, Ziyi was taken away, but his face was full of unwillingness. Thinking back to the beginning of the competition, he looked down on the world and didn't put anyone in his eyes. But now he was defeated with serious injuries. This kind of contrast made him very sullen, and he couldn't wait to kill Lin Xian immediately. I will definitely avenge my left eye. Ziye's heart was full of killing intent. I will be the final winner. After 7 rounds of competition, Lin Xian maintained his victory and was ranked first. Everyone looked at him in awe, with mixed feelings in their hearts. The last round was about to begin, and if Lin Xian didn't lose, then he would be this time's champion. The disciples of Rain Country were extremely nervous because only Yu Fei hadn't fought with Lin Xian yet. The 8th round of competition began. The participating disciples went up one after another. This time, they didn't hold back and gave it their all. Ouyang, Chengming, Wu Ying, and the others went up one after another, and each battle was more exciting than the last. And Lin Xian didn't move at all. He was comprehending the mystery of the fusion of the soul sword and the great dragon sword intent. That kind of attack was beyond his expectations. In the next round, Lin Xian versus Yu Fei. Everyone was shocked, and then their eyes were filled with passion. It's here, it's finally here. This was the final battle, and this battle would determine who would be the first. Lin Xian, dressed in a green robe, had a calm expression. Yu Fei, as ethereal as a fairy, untainted by the mortal world. The two of them stood facing each other, forming 2 powerful auras. Behind Yu Fei, it was as if there was a boundless ocean, drowning everything. And behind Lin Xian, there was a sword that reached the heavens, holding up the earth and the sky. The 2 forces clashed, and it was as if 2 giant stars had collided, creating sparks in the air. At this moment, the surrounding disciples were silent. They felt as if 2 huge mountains were pressing down on their heads, making it difficult for them to breathe. Without a doubt, Lin Xian and Yu Fei were already above everyone else. These 2 were both favored by the heavens. On the spectators' stand, many elders sighed in admiration. Indeed, Lin Xian and Yu Fei, one had comprehended sword intent and had an unusually strong soul power, while the other had a rare bloodline power and had extremely strong battle prowess. Moreover, besides them, there was also Ziyi. Although he was defeated, no one doubted his strength. In the competition of the past 100 years, this was the most intense. In the past, anyone of Lin Xian, Yu Fei, and Yu Fei could become the champion. But this time there were actually 3 champions at the same time. You're very strong, but I won't lose. On the stage, the ethereal girl Yu Fei's voice was filled with confidence. Then let's fight. Lin Xian did not waste any words, and he gripped his long sword tightly. The 2 secretly circulated their spiritual power, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Rumble, behind Yu Fei, a blue phantom of the ocean appeared. The waves were dozens of meters high, and they were constantly crashing, almost filling the entire sky. And Lin Xian, with his long sword in hand, exuded the aura of Sword Dao. It was as if a peerless divine sword was floating above everyone's heads. Wind, thunder, slash. Lin Xian pulled out his sword, and the sword flashed, forming the power of wind and thunder, and cut through the sky. With one slash, the wind howled, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. All kinds of terrifying scenes filled the world. Yu Fei frowned, and immediately used her bloodline power. 3 feet in front of her, a 2-meter tall blue sea mirror appeared, and a figure appeared in the smooth mirror. A sharp sword ray quickly rushed out of the mirror, and the power was exactly the same as Lin Xian's sword technique. Chapter 241. The 2 flashes of sword light collided in midair, quickly tearing apart and blending together. The sword light was like rain, scattering in all directions. Lin Xian had seen this kind of technique when he was below the stage, but experiencing it personally was a different feeling. I don't believe you can duplicate my sword intent. Lin Xian took a deep breath, and the 3 feet long blade once again drew an arc of sword qi. Like a crimson waterfall, it was at least a few dozen meters long, as if the Milky Way was hanging upside down, slashing towards the blue sea mirror. This strike contained the sword intent of the great dragon, and its attack power was increased by several times. Yu Fei's expression changed slightly. She stepped lightly and merged with the blue sea mirror in front of her. Suddenly, a fierce aura rose from her body, just like sword intent. With a wave of her arm, a flash of sword light shot into the sky. Dang! 2 flashes of brilliant sword qi surged in the air, and the terrifying sword light illuminated all directions. Lin Xian used the wind thunder steps and retreated rapidly. On the opposite side, the ethereal girl Yu Fei also quickly retreated. Good. Senior sister Yu Fei, good job! Seeing this scene, the disciples of Rain Country all cheered. Previously, they were still worried that Lin Xian's sword intent was too strong, but now it looked like Yu Fei was completely capable of handling it. Facing off against one's own technique. This was probably the saddest thing in the world. Lin Xian's eyes flashed, and he carefully felt that sword strike just now. No, it's not quite the same. He found a flaw. Although it was very similar, it was indeed not the same. Those who had not comprehended sword intent would not be able to display the true meaning of the sword. Change to another move. This move is useless against me. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Yu Fei frowned. She could feel that Lin Xian was not the kind of person who would speak arrogantly. However, the disciples below the stage obviously did not believe him. On the mysterious small sword in his body, the dragon-shaped pattern glowed, revealing a vast intent. Lin Xian's eyes were firm, revealing the aura of a powerful cultivator. With a sword in hand, I am invincible. At this moment, Lin Xian showed the elegance of a swordsman. He moved like the wind, and the long sword in his hand slashed out rapidly. Every slash was capable of splitting a mountain. On the other side, Yu Fei did the same as Lin Xian. She also slashed out dozens of sword qi, shaking the void. It's useless. You don't understand sword intent at all. Lin Xian's voice was like thunder exploding in the void. Melting wind style, hurricane form, wind-splitting style, gale form. For major sword moves were launched at the same time, and the entire arena was engulfed in terrifying energy fluctuations. Sword qi that could topple mountains and seas, each stronger than the last, formed a terrifying phenomenon in the sky. Yu Fei also struck out with her sword to counter Lin Xian. However, she soon realized that the moves she simulated were losing ground. What kind of power is this? Why can't I replicate it? A trace of panic appeared in her heart. However, as a genius, Yu Fei was very decisive. He immediately gave up on the blue sea mirror and used his most powerful move. With the power of her bloodline, her martial skill was several times stronger than before. Sure enough, it was still his own martial skills that were more handy. Yufei calmed down. Boundless ocean. Above the sky, 7 layers of waves rolled up. The power overlapped and collided with Lin Xian's sword qi. Finally gave up? Lin Xian's lips curled up slightly. His eyes emitted a terrifying gaze that was like a sword beam, piercing through the void. Layers of waves came one after another. Yufei's body floated up, bringing the 7 waves with her as she charged towards Lin Xian quickly. Wind Emperor's sword. The 4 major sword skills merged to form a single sword. This sword was like a gentle breeze, extremely illusory. It was also like a violent gale, containing terrifying killing intent. The 7 layers of waves were quickly split apart, and the sword qi was also quickly depleted. Finally, the 2 canceled each other out in the air. At this moment, the power of Yufei's bloodline flourished, forming a terrifying attack. 7 layers of waves palm. With a wave of her palm, the 7 layers of waves behind her merged, forming a huge wave that was close to 100 meters long. A monstrous wave of energy gushed out, rolling in the void, and rushed towards Lin Xian quickly. Boom! The power of bloodline exploded, exploding on Lin Xian's body. Pooh! Lin Xian activated the armor on his body at the first instant, defending himself. But that turbulent energy still made him retreat continuously. After flying for more than 50 meters, Lin Xian landed on the stage. Instantly, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Injured? Lin Xian was actually injured. Haha! Senior Sister Yufei is mighty. The power of bloodline is invincible. The disciples of Rain Country danced with joy. Yufei's eyes were also shining, and a powerful bloodline power spread out from her body. Lin Xian slowly stood up, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. The power of bloodline is indeed powerful. He laughed loudly and walked forward. Boom! With every step he took, the aura on his body became stronger. With only a few steps, Lin Xian crossed more than 30 meters, and the aura on his body became stronger and stronger. In the end, his whole person was like a heavenly sword, incomparably sharp. Blazing sword qi spurted out from his body, connecting into one in the sky. Sword intent surged, seeming to have surpassed the past. An even more powerful aura surged out from his body, and wherever it passed, the stones on the ground flew. Lin Xian's sword intent at this moment had broken through 20% and was quickly moving towards the small success of sword intent. Although it had not reached the small success of sword intent, compared to before, it was much more powerful. Under this fierce aura, Yufei's expression finally changed. Her body, including her soul, had a trace of fear. Power of bloodline, suppress. Yufei tried her best to suppress this fear, and then used all her strength to resist. Blue sea connecting sky. Spiritual power surged, and the sea and sky merged into one, becoming indistinguishable. And at this moment, Lin Xian stabbed out with his sword. The sword qi was like a dragon, roaring fiercely, and suddenly fell, destroying everything in front of it. Chi. The sea and sky attacks were forcibly torn apart, and a huge crack almost 100 meters wide appeared in the void. The sword qi, with an invincible aura, slashed toward Yufei. The armor on her body was shattered, and a trace of fear appeared in Yufei's eyes. She finally stopped resisting and quickly retreated. However, the attack that was close to the small success of sword intent was beyond her imagination, and that sword still managed to break through her defense. Boom! The earth trembled, and a terrifying crack appeared on the black ground, spreading all the way to the distance. Whoosh! Lin Xian's face was a little pale. The sword just now had consumed most of his essence, qi and spirit, and the spiritual power in his body was almost depleted. However, the results obtained were also extremely good. Not only did he have a breakthrough in sword intent, but he also seriously injured his opponent. On the ground in the distance, Yufei fell to the ground with blood on her body. She struggled for a while and finally fainted. Whoosh! A figure flashed and took her away. The winner, Lin Xian. The referee took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, Lin Xian's performance was beyond his expectations. He originally thought that the winner would be Yufei, who had the power of bloodline, but he did not expect it to be Lin Xian. Lin Xian bowed to the referee and then walked down. The younger generation will surpass us in time. The referee said in a low voice. Below the stage, everyone was immersed in that terrifying sword, and they had yet to recover. Chapter 242. After a long while, cries of surprise erupted from the crowd. What a terrifying strike! My mind was almost destroyed. Damn it! How could there be such a terrifying strike? Is he really only a spiritual ocean tier martial artist? Senior sister you lost, this is impossible. I must be dreaming. Wake me up! The disciples of Rain Country cried loudly. They could not believe that the goddess in their hearts would lose. However, the truth was right in front of their eyes. Even if they were heartbroken, they could only accept it. The disciples of Xia Country were in a daze. They could not believe this fact. All this time they had always been in last place, at the bottom of the rankings. Even in the previous competitions, no one was able to make it into the top 3. But this time, not only did they make it into the top 3, they even won first place in one go. This was almost a heaven-defying feat. Everyone's face was full of joy, and they welcomed Lin Xian down. A group of people surrounded him, all cheering and cheering. On the spectators' stand, Elder Song and Elder Gu's body trembled slightly, and there was a slight tremor in their voices. We won, we really won. Our Xia Country won first place. The joy of victory hit them hard. It could not be helped. For so many years, Xia Country had been bullied and looked down upon. But now they had won first place. In the future, no one would be able to laugh at them, and Xia Country's disciples could also hold their heads high. Thinking of this, many Xia Country's disciples looked at Lin Xian, their eyes full of gratitude. However, the competition was not over, and there were still disciples who wanted to compete on the stage. In the end, Ziyi and Yufei fought again, fighting for second place. The two of them fought, and Ziyi won by half a move. When the judge announced that Lin Xian was this year's champion, the whole valley echoed with the laughter of Xia Country's disciples. The disciples of Rain Country could only accept this fact helplessly. Yufei's face had already returned to normal. Lin Xian was indeed stronger than her. She had nothing to say about this. However, the people of Purple Extreme Demon Palace looked gloomy. Ziye's face was full of unwillingness, and there was a trace of killing intent in his eyes. Finally, the judge sent by the Inscription Union began to give out the rewards. The top 3 would have the qualifications to enter the Inscription Tower, and the first place would be rewarded with an additional spirit gathering pill. After receiving the pill, Lin Xian consumed it on the spot and began to refine it under the protection of Elder Song and the others. This action immediately severed the Purple Extreme Devil Palace's last shred of hope. Yi looked at Lin Xian's figure, his eyes almost spitting fire. His left eye was hazy, which was the result of his heavy injuries. The others were also envious, but they could only watch from afar. One day later, Lin Xian opened his eyes. A powerful soul force spread out, causing the nearby disciples to tremble. What a tyrannical soul force! Could it be that Lin Xian broke through again? Everyone looked at Lin Xian with uncertain expressions. Elder Song and Elder Gu were also looking forward to it. This was the peak of second-grade inscription. Yes, this was indeed the peak of second-grade inscription. The two elders smiled with relief. a 17-year-old with the strength of a peak second-grade inscription master. Such a thing had never happened before. The others sucked in a breath of cold air, looking at Lin Xian with envy. Generally speaking, from the early stage to the peak of second-grade inscription master, it would take at least a few decades. However, Lin Xian had actually used a single pill to deal with it. How could everyone not be jealous? The inscription tower will open tomorrow. Before that, you should have a good rest. Elder Song said, in the past 2 days of competition, Lin Xian's body and mind had consumed a lot of energy. Moreover, his soul force had suddenly skyrocketed, so he needed to consolidate it. Nodding, Lin Xian closed his eyes again. The night passed in a hurry. When Lin Xian opened his eyes again, it was already the next day. After a day of consolidation, his soul force had completely stabilized. Apart from the elders of the older generation, his soul power was the strongest among all of the elders present. If he were to compete with Z now, he was confident that he could end the battle with his soul force within 3 moves. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian had a trace of expectation in his heart. A single spirit amassing pill had already caused a huge change in his strength. He wondered how much the inscription tower could increase his strength. Following Elder Song to the northwest corner of the valley, Lin Xian found that the other harmonious spirit elders were all here. There were a total of 8 people, standing in 8 different directions, forming a formation. Each of them struck a mysterious rune in the air, and everyone was constantly moving. A rumbling sound came from the sky, and the ground trembled. A hazy shadow appeared in front of them, like the moon in the mirror, very ethereal. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the shadow gradually became real. At the same time, there was a feeling of palpitations. 100 meters tall stone tower appeared in front of them, emitting an ancient aura. "You 3, come here quickly." One of the elders shouted in a low voice. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the other 2 quickly walked over. "We are going to open the inscription tower now. Go in and comprehend it well. Remember, you only have 1 day. After 1 day, you must return to the first floor. Otherwise, you will never be able to come out." Lin Xian was slightly shocked, but he remembered all the important points. Rumble! The stone door of the first floor slowly opened. It was a little dark inside, and Soul Force couldn't explore it. Lin Xian and the other 2 didn't hesitate and quickly rushed in. Behind them, many disciples' eyes were filled with envy. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The 3 of them turned into rays of light and entered the inscription tower. Boom! The stone door of the first floor slowly closed. I wonder what kind of fortune Lin Xian will get in there. Elder Song had a trace of expectation in his heart. The light dimmed, and the stone door completely closed. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. His soul force was limited in here. With his strength as a peak second-grade spirit rune master, he could only display 30% of his strength. However, not only him, Ziyi and Yufei were the same. This could be seen from the expressions on their faces. With a cold snort, Ziyi quickly left the first floor. Lin Xian ignored him. The Purple Demon Palace had entered the inscription tower more than once, so they must have a lot of guides. Lin Gongzi, see you in 1 day. Yufei muttered behind him and left. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He wasn't in a hurry to leave. Instead, he looked around. Although the light was a little dim, Lin Xian could still see the situation around him. There were many patterns engraved on the walls. There were all kinds of patterns as if they were real. Hee, Xiao Xuanzi, comprehend the first floor well. Lord Alcohol chuckled and transmitted a voice transmission. Lin Xian's heart stirred when he heard that. Lord Alcohol, is there something special about the first floor? Hee, a skyscraper rises from the ground. The foundation is very important. Lin Xian touched his chin and carefully sensed. Sitting cross-legged, Lin Xian closed his eyes and pondered. Gradually, he seemed to sense that there were many figures around him. They were all young disciples who were practicing basic inscriptions. Lin Xian was moved. Chapter 243. Lin Xian was moved when he saw this scene. This should be a reenactment of the past. Carefully sense their inscriptions and compare them with your own, said Lord Alcohol. Lin Xian carefully sensed it and compared it with his own knowledge. He benefited greatly. He felt that his soul power had become purer and thicker. It didn't feel like it had just been raised. What a wonderful feeling. Lin Xian was delighted. He waited until the effect became very small before he stood up. Ignoring everything else, just the tempering of his soul power made Lin Xian's trip worthwhile. Looking at the four walls again, Lin Xian carefully sensed the inscriptions. The inscriptions were very simple and not complicated, but Lin Xian felt an inexplicable aura. It was as if every stroke contained the truth of the inscriptions. Lin Xian immediately made a decision. He didn't plan on going to the upper levels. Instead, he was determined to carefully study the inscriptions on the first level. Firstly, the inscriptions seemed simple, but they contained profound mysteries. Secondly, his soul power had increased rapidly. In a short period of time, he had completed a journey that took others hundreds of years to complete. He needed to completely consolidate his soul power. Not bad. Lord Alcohol nodded in satisfaction. You are willing to give up on the upper levels and focus on the first level. I'm afraid there is no other person with such courage. Indeed, any genius who entered the inscription tower couldn't wait to rush to the upper levels. No one had ever stayed on the first level for such a long time. There was no need to talk about comprehending anything. If you can comprehend the first level, it will be greatly beneficial to you. It will be far better than the other things on the upper levels. With Lord Alcohol's support, Lin Xian felt more at ease. He focused on comprehending the inscriptions. The Great Tao was simple. This sentence was applicable to any kind of cultivation. Lin Xian understood a lot from the inscriptions. Some of the areas that were usually vague were smoothed out. Of course, the more he pondered, the more he realized that the inscriptions were unfathomable. Finally, he imprinted all the inscriptions in his mind. A day passed quickly, and he was about to leave. Ziyi and Yufei came down from the upper levels. The two of them were pleasantly surprised. Clearly, they had gained a lot. However, when they saw Lin Xian sitting cross-legged, they were stunned. This guy wouldn't be staying in the first level all the time, right? Yufei had a puzzled look on her face while Ziyi sneered. The two of them ignored Lin Xian and paid no attention to the pictures on the walls. As far as they were concerned, how could there be anything good on the first level? An hour later, the stone door opened again. Ziyi took the lead and charged out. Yufei followed closely behind, and Lin Xian was the last. He slowly stood up and bowed to his surroundings before walking towards the stone door. Whoosh! Whoosh! The four patterns flashed and entered his mind. Lin Xian felt a jolt of energy. He felt that he could easily see the four carvings. Suppressing his excitement, Lin Xian walked out of the stone tower. Laughter rang out from the purple extreme devil palace. They must have gotten something good. Rain Country's side was also filled with cheers. Ziyi reached the 8th floor, and Yufei reached the 7th floor. Both of them obtained good things. Lin Xian, which level are you on? Elder Song asked. Hearing this, the disciples of the other two countries also pricked up their ears. I thought he was some kind of genius, but now it seems that he's actually an idiot. Ziyi sneered. Your Xia country's genius actually stayed in the first level for an entire day. What a joke! What? Everyone was stunned and looked at Lin Xian. Many people sneered, and some were puzzled. In their eyes, Lin Xian wouldn't do such a stupid thing. Elder Song and Elder Gu were also surprised and looked at Lin Xian in confusion. Lin Xian didn't want to say anything. Since they misunderstood, then let them misunderstand. This way, it would save him a lot of trouble. I just consolidated my soul power and spent some time. Many people sighed. That was the inscription tower. There were so many good things inside, and they were wasted by Lin Xian, just like that. Elder Song and Elder Gu sighed and didn't say anything else. They would rest for a while and return tomorrow. Everyone dispersed and prepared to return. At night, Lin Xian found the two elders and asked for some jade slips. Lin Xian, what do you want this for? Elder Song and Elder Gu were puzzled. Lin Xian held the jade slip in his hand and copied a picture on the wall into it. He then handed it to the two elders. These days, I am indebted to the two elders for taking care of me. Here are some inscription pictures from the inscription tower. They might be useful to the two elders. Elder Song and Elder Gu were slightly surprised. They didn't expect Lin Xian to give them something like this. Using their soul power, they saw a very simple inscription picture. However, upon closer inspection, it didn't seem that simple. This is... Elder Song was a third-grade inscription master, and his knowledge far exceeded that of ordinary people. Although he couldn't understand it immediately, with his many years of experience, he knew that this thing wasn't as simple as it seemed. It seems that your harvest is greater than expected. I can rest assured now. Elder Song and Elder Gu put away the jade slip and looked at Lin Xian with a smile. Lin Xian smiled and scratched his head. This was only one of the pictures, and it wasn't one of the 4 strange pictures. It wasn't that he didn't want to give it to Lin Xian, but there was an inexplicable force that prevented Lin Xian from copying the 4 pictures. Elders, I want to go out and travel. I won't be going back with everyone tomorrow. Lin Xian said in a low voice. He wanted to cultivate and improve his strength to prepare for the battle with Lin Feng. But more importantly, he had a map in his hand. The place depicted on the map was relatively close to where he was, and he wanted to explore it. All right, the Great Xia is too small. With your talent, even in the Tianan region, you will be able to shine. Elder Song was very knowledgeable. He didn't stop Lin Xian. This is the deacon's token of the Inscription Alliance. If you have any difficulties, go to the Inscription Alliance. Elder Song said. Elder Gu also took out a palm-sized token. This is the Elder's token of the 10,000 Treasures Tower. From now on, you are an Elder of the 10,000 Treasures Tower. Lin Xian took the 2 tokens and put them away. Seniors, I'll take my leave now. After bidding farewell to the 2 elders, Lin Xian came to Vivian again. Quietly handing over the jade slip in his hand, Lin Xian smiled and said, "Don't show it to others." Vivian was stunned, then nodded and put away the jade slip. "Take care. We will meet again if fate wills it." Lin Xian waved his hand and disappeared into the night. "Take care." Vivian nodded vigorously. She knew that with Lin Xian's talent, he would go very far in the future. She could only desperately chase after him. "Will we meet again?" Vivian clenched the jade slip. Lin Xian left. He didn't know that his 3 jade slips would become 3 inscription masters in the future, and their names would spread around the Great Xia. Of course, this was a story for another day. The night was hazy, and the faint moonlight sprinkled on the ground. He took out the broken map. There were many red dots on it, and a few of them were near the green water valley. Chapter 244. Lin Xian guessed that the map should have recorded the location of the treasure, and the red that could be the location where the treasure was buried. However, there were too many red dots, and they needed to be verified one by one. The nearest one is 200 miles away from the Green Water Valley. Let's go there and take a look. Lin Xian put away the map. His body flashed, and he disappeared into the night. Not long after Lin Xian left, The two purple shadows quickly rushed into the valley. Whoosh! Ziying was as silent as a ghost. The two of them arrived at the purple extreme devil palace's territory and quickly transmitted their voices. Reporting to Fifth Elder, that brat really left. Humph, as long as you leave, things will be easier. The Fifth Elder sneered, his eyes filled with malice. Such a genius must not be allowed to grow. Otherwise, it will be difficult for the Xia country to control him in the future. The two of you follow Purple Heart. You must kill this brat. For such a small matter, there's no need for Senior Brother Purple Heart. The two of us can do it, the Fifth Elder said in a low voice. With Zixian taking action, I can rest assured. Beside him, Ziyi revealed a cruel smile. Lin Xian, so what if you've taken first place? You'll still die. Only the one who had the last laugh was the winner. In the night, a hazy figure appeared. At this moment, a devilish young man appeared. His aura was even stronger than Violet Knight's. After the Fifth Elder gave some instructions, the devilish young man left quietly with the two purple-clothed men. Did you leave a mark? The three of them walked out of the valley, and the devilish young man asked. He was the Zixian that the Fifth Elder had mentioned. Don't worry, sir. We've left some extreme purple chi in the surroundings. As long as there's even a little of it on his body, we'll be able to track him down. The purple extreme chi was a colorless and odorless gas. Only those from the purple extreme devil palace could detect it using a secret technique. Once this kind of gas came into contact with one's body, there would be nowhere to run within 1,000 miles. Let him run for a while. Once he's completely out of the Greenwater Valley's range, we'll make our move, Purple Heart said in a low voice. Whoosh! The three figures ran into the distance. Lin Xian hurried through the forest. A distance of 200 kilometers was not too far for him. Finally, he came to the first place, marked in red. However, after probing for a while, he didn't find anything. He took out the map, confirmed his target again, and quickly left. After a long while, three figures appeared in front of the cave. It was Zixian and the other two. He seems to be looking for something, a figure asked. Follow them. We'll make our move when the sun rises. Purple Heart said calmly. After a night of running, Lin Xian finally arrived at the second location, marked in red at dawn. This was a mountain stream, and the surrounding spiritual energy was dense. Just as Lin Xian was about to investigate, he suddenly became vigilant. Lightning patterns appeared on his body as he flew out like a cannonball. Chi! Just as he was about to leave, two silhouettes materialized on the spot, the daggers in their hands stabbing into the void. There was a purplish-black color on the cold light. It was obvious that it had been smeared with poison. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. The two who had attacked him had hidden themselves very well. His soul force had not been able to detect them. If it wasn't for the murderous aura that was emitted when he made his move, which alerted him, he would have been seriously injured by now. Your reflexes are not bad. A faint voice came from the void. Then a figure appeared. Purple clothes and purple eyes, the disguise of the Purple Extreme Demon Palace. You're really haunting me. Lin Xian's voice was cold. To be honest, your talent is not bad. We won't allow you to continue growing. Purple Heart said slowly, If you obediently give up, I can consider leaving your corpse intact. Otherwise, you can just wait to fall into hell. Lin Xian stared at the youth who had spoken, and a disdainful smile appeared on his face, as expected of the demonic sect. However, if you want to keep me here, it's not something that can be done with just a few words. Lin Xian was not arrogant. Even the number one of the younger generation, Ziyi, had lost to him. There was almost no one in the younger generation who could be his opponent. Unless the older generation made a move, he would not be afraid. Who do you think you are? When our Lord Purple Heart was famous, he wasn't even born yet. the champion of this year's competition. Purple Heart's eyes flashed with a trace of ridicule. The two of you can play with him. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two silhouettes in purple intertwined and pounced like ghosts. The daggers in their hands were suffused with a purplish-black light, emitting a heart-palpitating aura. The two of them cooperated very well. In an instant, they were on Lin Xian's left and right. Their targets were Lin Xian's vital points. Not far away, Purple Heart sat on a huge rock. She had an evil smile on her face, but her eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Feeling the fierce attacks coming from both sides, Lin Xian's eyes narrowed, and the aura on his body erupted like a flash flood. The rocks on the ground were instantly shattered into powder and then scattered in all directions with a surge of spiritual energy. Streaks of copper lightning patterns appeared on Lin Xian's body, and the surrounding air was filled with the power of wind and lightning. He punched out with both fists, and like two dragons, they pounced on the two silhouettes. Clang! The daggers in their hands pierced the lightning dragon's body, and terrifying cracks appeared. However, an even more ferocious power surged out of the lightning dragon's body and entered their bodies through the daggers. Many golden arcs of lightning entered their bodies and rumbled in their bodies. With two muffled groans, the two silhouettes retreated quickly, constantly changing their positions. What a frightening power of lightning! Shock appeared in their eyes. It was obvious that they had suffered under the attack of the golden arcs of lightning. However, since the two of them were able to follow Purple Heart, they were not ordinary people. After a few breaths, the two silhouettes controlled the power of lightning in their bodies and charged over again. Purple Ultimate Ecstasy Kill. The two silhouettes were blood brothers, and their minds were connected. They knew what the other was thinking with just a glance. Under their combined efforts, a psychedelic assassination array appeared in their hands. He used his ultimate move so quickly. Looks like this kid is more interesting than I thought. The smile on Purple Heart's face deepened. Lin Xian tapped his foot lightly, and his right leg swept out. The power of wind and lightning surged, and it had the power to wipe out 1,000 soldiers. Bam, bam, bam. The two silhouettes joined forces and took it head-on. The purple-black daggers pierced towards Lin Xian's right leg like raindrops. The copper lightning patterns emitted light, and like the most solid barrier, it protected Lin Xian's body. Swish! Formless soul power surged towards Lin Xian, and in an instant, dozens of silhouettes appeared around him. Every one of them seemed real. 10 silhouettes joined forces, and they stabbed towards Lin Xian from all directions. Illusion technique? Lin Xian's lips curled up, and the soul power of a peak second-grade inscription master spread out, fiercely hitting the silhouettes. Puff, puff! The illusions around him disappeared, and 2 silhouettes flew out in a sorry state. Boom! The 2 silhouettes landed on the ground, and a terrifying crater was formed. What a strong soul power! How is this possible? Fear finally appeared in their eyes. They did not believe that such soul power would appear on a 17-year-old boy. Even Purple Heart, who was far away, put away her playful smile and her eyes flickered. Interesting. You two trash. Quickly finish him off. Chapter 245. Purple Heart's words shocked the 2 martial artists in purple. They knew that this was a sign that Purple Heart was about to get angry. The 2 of them had joined forces, and yet they couldn't take down a little brat. It was embarrassing. Strongest attack, purple illusion heart-piercing stab. The 2 of them pressed their palms together as their bodies spun like a top. Whong! Whong! The air vibrated as the trees on both sides were uprooted and turned into powder in midair. Stab! A purple vortex flew out with 2 cold glints in its center. They were like the eyes of a ferocious beast and were filled with a dangerous aura. Lin Xian pursed his lips, and the aura on his body rose again. Lightning surged and formed a strange rune. With a flip of his palm, the red flame sword appeared in his hand. The heavy sword had a thick back and a broad sword body. The heavy sword once again emitted a dark red glow. Like a brand, the runes on the sword body flickered and were filled with a mysterious aura. In an instant, the lightning on Lin Xian's body covered the sword and formed a sharp sawtooth. Holding the sword with both hands, Lin Xian swung it with all his might. Whoosh! Crack! This attack contained all of Lin Xian's strength, and the ferocious power tore the air apart. Boom! The heavy sword hit the purple vortex, and an earth-shattering sound exploded. An extremely unstable energy wave spread out in all directions. Everywhere it passed, everything turned into ashes. In the center, a light pillar with a diameter of 3 meters shot up into the sky and dispersed all the clouds in the sky. Purple Heart's body floated and landed on the ground like a feather. Purple light flashed in his eyes as he looked forward. In the next moment, he frowned and his face darkened. When all the light disappeared, Lin Xian's voice could be heard. The lightning on his body had disappeared, and the red flame sword in his hand was dripping with blood. A pungent stench filled the air and made people want to vomit. 5 meters in front of him, the ground caved in, and there was a deep pit with a diameter of more than 10 meters. There were countless cracks spreading around it. In the pit, there were 2 lumps of mud-like things piled up, and there was still the power of the lightning on them. Purple Heart's face darkened. He had seen that attack clearly. Lin Xian directly used brute force to turn his 2 subordinates into meat paste, and that terrifying strength made his expression change slightly. Very good. Your strength has exceeded my expectations. This is even more fun. Purple Heart regained her composure in an instant, but the murderous aura on her body became even stronger. He slowly stretched out a hand and said in a contemptuous tone, "I can deal with you with 1 hand." If there was anyone else here, their jaws would definitely drop. Who was Lin Xian? He was the champion of this year's Inscription Tower competition, and his strength had firmly suppressed the younger generation. And now there was actually someone who wanted to finish him off with 1 hand. This ZXIN was definitely a lunatic. Lin Xian looked at the arrogant young man in front of him and didn't retaliate. On the contrary, he felt an indescribable sense of danger from Purple Heart. As a swordsman, he trusted his instincts. Therefore, he planned to give it his all. Putting away the red flame sword, Lin Xian took out the autumn scar sword. The sword light was like autumn water, shining in all directions. A sharp sword intent surged in his body, ready to burst out at any moment. On the opposite side, Purple Heart didn't rush over. Instead, an evil smile appeared on his face. "Perhaps I don't even need to do anything. You will die." Purple light flashed in his eyes as he suddenly activated the purple demon eyes. Purple flames jumped and jumped towards Lin Xian. Cut! The soul sword flew out, turning into a shapeless sword chi and slashing towards the purple fire. The 2 collided in the air like swords clashing. Split! Purple Heart's eyes moved, and the purple fire in the air suddenly split into 2. 1 ball restrained the soul, while the other ball quickly rushed towards Lin Xian. Everywhere it passed, the broken trees were all set ablaze, turning into ashes in an instant. Whoa! Lin Xian suddenly pulled out his sword, and the wind and thunder sword light flashed out, hacking at the purple fire. The dragon's sword intent surged, increasing the attacking power of this sword by several times. Before the sword chi arrived, 100-meter-long crack appeared on the ground. Swoosh! Swoosh! The purple fire was impacted and its speed slowed down. Under the pressure of the sword chi, it kept changing its shape. Whoosh! Finally, the purple fire dissipated, and the soul sword flew back. Lin Xian and Purple Heart faced each other from afar. Peak grade 2 soul power. Not bad. Purple Heart snapped his fingers, and a ball of flame appeared on his fingertip. The purple flame jumped. Although it was small, it emitted a terrifying aura. Lin Xian didn't dare to be careless. His long sword danced, and he quickly stabbed out. Swoosh! Swoosh! Bright sword light surged, and like a waterfall it slashed down. The air trembled, and explosions occurred continuously, blowing up the surrounding mountains. Facing this fierce sword, Purple Heart smiled disdainfully. He flicked his finger, and the purple flame quickly rushed out. Like jumping fairies, the small purple flame collided with the sword chi and constantly mixed. It was like ice meeting fire, and there was a sizzling sound. On the materialized sword chi, a wormhole-like crack appeared, and it quickly became bigger. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. The terror of the flame was beyond his imagination. Wind Emperor's sword. Lin Xian swung his sword again, and the fierce wind disappeared. It was as if there was only one sword left in the world. Ka! Ka! The original sword chi was burned by the purple flame, and it was broken. However, an even more fierce sword chi attacked. Clang! A thunderous sound reverberated through the air. The purple flame was knocked away, and its color dimmed. Seeing this, Lin Xian's body shook, and like lightning, he stabbed towards Purple Heart. Seeing that his purple flame was obstructed again, Purple Heart's face darkened. He opened his right hand, and traces of purple flame shot out from his palm, forming a flaming palm. Whoosh! He pushed his palm out, and half the sky turned into a sea of fire. Sword light flashed, and the endless flames were split in half. Lin Xian opened a path in the raging flames. Whoosh! His body shook, and he disappeared again. The long sword in his hand pierced towards Purple Heart's forehead with a fierce aura. Scram! Purple Heart's 5 fingers formed a claw, and flames danced on it. He mercilessly clawed forward. Ding, ding, ding. In a flash, Lin Xian stabbed more than 100 times, and they clashed with the flaming palm, creating a series of explosions. Great Dragon Sword Intent. Lin Xian's eyes focused, and his attacks became fierce again. Many of the flames on Purple Heart's palm were extinguished by the sword intent, revealing his pale palm. Ka! Purple Heart exerted his strength and grabbed the Autumn Scar sword. Then his face turned ferocious. Brat, I'm not in the mood to play with you anymore. Die! An enormous aura gushed out from his body, covering the sky and the earth. It was as if 10,000 mountains were going to crush everything. The surrounding rocks and trees were crushed into powder by this formless aura. Even the ground caved in by half a foot. Lin Xian's bones cracked under the pressure. He tried his best to pull back his long sword, but it was useless. Brat, today I'll show you the terror of a half-step harmonious spirit expert. Chapter 246. Half-Step Harmonious Spirit. Hearing these words, Lin Xian's pupils shrunk. His expression was somewhat ugly. Half-step harmonious spirit realm. This kind of situation was beyond his expectations. Anything related to the harmonious spirit realm was not something a Sea of Souls realm warrior could contend against. Seeing the change in Lin Xian's expression, Xian couldn't help but laugh. He liked to enjoy the frightened expressions of his opponents. It was a kind of pleasure for him. Die in fear. Xian laughed loudly. His left hand suddenly stretched out, and a fierce spirit power instantly bombarded Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian decisively abandoned the Autumn Scar sword and retreated like lightning. At the same time, he activated the ancient armor and the copper thunder mark with all his might. Layers of lightning marks flickered and quickly formed on the surface of his body. At the same time, a thick and heavy armor appeared on top of it. However, the strength of a half-step harmonious spirit realm warrior was much stronger than he had imagined. Almost in the blink of an eye, that fierce power had already crashed into his body. Puff! As if a huge mountain had crashed into his body, Lin Xian felt that all the bones in his body were about to shatter. Block for me. His expression was ferocious. He crazily activated all his defenses, but his body flew out like a cannonball. Crack! Crack! On his chest, the copper thunder mark dimmed, as if it had been extinguished. Not only that, but a glaring crack had also appeared on the armor he was wearing. Boom! His body crashed into the ground, creating a deep hole. Lin Xian endured the pain and drank a cup of spirit wine at the first moment. If it wasn't for the copper thunder mark and the ancient armor, this attack would have taken his life. Moreover, his loss was also huge. Not only was the copper thunder mark damaged, the armor on it was also destroyed. With the help of the spirit wine, Lin Xian quickly recovered. He didn't die. Xian was very surprised. His attack just now was enough to kill any Sea of Souls realm warrior 1,000 times over. A purple light flashed as Xian looked at Lin Xian. Humph! So you have a spirit armor to protect your body. No wonder you could survive. But why do you have so much this time? As soon as she finished speaking, Xian quickly rushed over. Purple flames appeared on her palm. Lin Xian felt goosebumps all over his body. He felt as if he was being stared at by a peerless beast that could devour him at any moment. Don't take it head on. The difference is too great. Lord Alcohol reminded. Lin Xian nodded. Xian was much stronger than him. Even Meng Yan, Lin Feng, and the others couldn't stop her. This was not surprising. Although Purple Heart looked young, she was actually in her 40s. She had been cultivating for far longer than Lin Xian. Qingnu, I'm counting on you. His storage ring flashed, and a green figure appeared. Lin Xian's eyes changed, forming inscriptions that entered the body of the green figure. It's useless. In front of me, Sea of Soul realm martial artists are no different from ants. Purple Heart suddenly appeared, and her purple flame palm slammed down. Boom! The flames danced and burned the air, turning into a sea of fire that spread out in all directions. However, a green figure blocked in front of Lin Xian and received the palm strike. Die. Purple Heart's eyes were cold. She planned to kill both of them together. The moment she touched the body of the green-haired man, a cold and dark chi soared into the sky as if it wanted to devour everything. Rolling green smoke formed a 10-meter big fist and blasted toward Purple Heart. The mountain rocks shattered and the trees within 100 meters were snapped. Like a huge mountain, the green fist deflected the flame palm and rushed toward Purple Heart with an even sharper aura. Humph! Purple Heart snorted coldly. Her body was like a flame that spread out in all directions and then reformed behind her. While the two were fighting, Lin Xian's body swayed and retrieved the Autumn Scar sword. So what if you're a half-step harmonious spirit realm? I've even slapped the face of a true harmonious spirit realm expert, let alone you. Lin Xian was furious. Since the other party wanted to kill him, he wouldn't show any mercy. Qingnu, kill him! Lin Xian coldly shouted. This Qingnu was the mysterious green-haired man who had followed Lin Xian. However, now that Lin Xian had used the slave imprint on her, she could only listen to his orders. Shoo! 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 The green-haired man's hair flew toward Purple Heart like thousands of sharp arrows. You still have a helper. Purple Heart could feel Qingnu's aura, and his heart became heavy. He put away his playful mood, and his eyes became unusually sharp. Unless you're a true harmonious spirit realm expert, you can just wait for your death. Obviously, Purple Heart didn't plan to let Lin Xian go. Purple Flame, transformation. With a flip of his palm, the purple flame turned into 100-meter big firebird that covered the sky and rushed forward. Puff! Puff! Great dragon, sword intent. Outer sky, flying star. Lin Xian became one with his sword and turned into a shooting star that pierced toward Purple Heart. With a flash of sword light, the Autumn Scar sword pierced through Purple Heart's chest and sent him flying. Wind Emperor's sword. Lin Xian attacked again. With a thrust of his sword, the wind and clouds changed. The glaring sword light slashed on Purple Heart's body and sent him flying. The purple firebird in the sky disappeared, and Purple Heart's body was sent flying 100 meters away. Lin Xian let out a sigh of relief, but then he frowned. Under his soul perception, Purple Heart's aura didn't weaken. On the contrary, it was getting stronger. Did I not hurt him? Lin Xian's heart was in turmoil. Kid, I have to admit that I have underestimated you. But with just these, you can't hurt me. Purple Heart's voice was cold. He took a step forward and instantly arrived in front of Lin Xian. He tore off the tattered clothes on his body, revealing the dark black armor on his body. I have a high, rank profound armor. You can't break through my defense. Purple Heart's face showed a playful expression. With this armor, even if he faced Qingnu, he wouldn't be afraid. I will cut 36,000 cuts on your body, and then sprinkle bloodthirsty ants on your body to eat your flesh. I will let your soul reincarnate in hell. Purple Heart's voice was cold, like a demon's. Lin Xian took a deep breath. We don't know who will die yet. Qingnu, go. Swoosh! The green figure pounced forward again and engaged in a fierce battle with Purple Heart. Lin Xian continued to merge the Sword of Soul and the great dragon, Sword Intent, at the side. Finally, after 15 times, he succeeded. Roar! A deep dragon roar sounded, and the formless Sword of Soul pierced toward Purple Heart. With the support of the Sword Intent, the power of the Sword of Soul had at least doubled. This was also why Lin Xian had chosen to use the Sword of Soul and not the Flame of Soul. Swoosh! The Sword of Soul was silent and quickly attacked Purple Heart. Humph, insignificant skill. Purple Heart sneered. His eyes turned, and the flame of soul gushed out. Chi-chi! Puff! The two collided, and the flame of soul only resisted for a breath's time before it was extinguished. What? Purple Heart frowned. He didn't expect Lin Xian's soul attack to be so strong. In the next moment, he finally tasted the power of the Sword of Soul. Chapter 247. The soul sword that had merged with the sword had become extremely powerful. This move was very close to the attack of a third-tier inscription master. Purple Heart was heavily injured and dizzy. All the martial arts he had used had disappeared. Qingnu took this opportunity to attack fiercely. Her green fingertips slashed across Purple Heart's body, leaving many horrifying wounds. Lin Xian met the sword head-on, thrusting his sword forward. Great dragon sword will. Green dragon goes to the sea. The sword light was like a dragon, rolling in the clouds and roaring ferociously. This time it attacked Purple Heart's forehead, intending to end the battle in one go. Puff! Blood splattered from Purple Heart's forehead. The Autumn Scar sword was less than 3 feet away from Purple Heart's head. At this moment, Purple Heart suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were purple. His head was in a mess. The long sword grazed his head, leaving a bloody mark. Kid, I want you dead. Purple Heart was furious. The blood on his forehead had evaporated. Purple Extreme Secret Art, Blood Evil Descent. Boom! His body suddenly grew, 3 feet tall like a giant. It was actually the Purple Extreme, Hall's martial arts. Qingnu smiled evilly and pointed out. Puff! Purple Heart's swollen body was like a deflated balloon. It immediately softened. Impossible. How could you break it? Fear appeared on Purple Heart's face. This was the Purple Extreme Demon Palace's secret art. It was impossible to break it. However, the green-haired man had broken it with a single finger. This completely overturned his understanding. He did not know that the green-haired man was the evil Dragon Sex Envoy's clone, and that the Purple Extreme Demon Palace was just a hall. In front of the green-haired man, the two were not on the same level. Master, release my seal. I have a way to kill him. The green-haired man looked back at Lin Xian with a trace of excitement in his eyes. Lin Xian frowned as a bad premonition arose in his heart. Humph. He snorted and used the slave seal. The green-haired man showed a pained expression. At the same time, Lin Xian's body flashed and appeared in front of Purple Heart. Kid, you dare to touch me? Purple Heart was furious. Lin Xian's gaze was cold. Cold light flickered on his fingertips. Half of the mysterious ice chi flowed out and circled around ZXian's body. An abnormally cold aura overflowed and froze everything in the surroundings. How is this possible? Purple Heart's face was filled with terror. He could feel the threat of death looming over him. Crack! His head was frozen, and the fear on his face was frozen forever. With a flash of sword light, a head flew up. Purple Heart's face was still filled with fear. Even in death, he could not believe that Lin Xian could kill him so easily. The green-haired man's expression changed drastically when he sensed the icy chi. Lin Xian's cold gaze enveloped Qing Nu as he warned, "Don't play any tricks or I'll kill you." The green-haired man did not dare to act rashly and could only obey obediently. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palm and used the slave seal to put the blue-haired man away. Then he showed a pained expression. That was his last trace of mysterious ice chi. Now that he had used half of it, there was still half of it left. However, he did not regret it. Firstly, he killed ZXian, and secondly, he used this opportunity to intimidate Qing Nu, putting away his long sword. Lin Xian took off ZXian's upper-grade Mystic-class armor and put it on. Then he took the storage ring from ZXian's hand. With a flick of his finger, a golden arc flew out and shattered ZXian's body. After jumping down the mountain stream, Lin Xian found a safe place and heaved a sigh of relief. In the battle just now, he was hit by ZXian's palm and suffered serious internal injuries. After drinking a cup of spirit wine, Lin Xian began to use the art of longevity. 2 hours later, he opened his eyes. With a flip of his hand, ZXian's storage ring appeared. He hoped to get some compensation. Lin Xian was looking forward to it. 30,000 mid-grade spirit stones. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. This guy is really rich. Middle-grade spirit stones were far more precious than low-grade spirit stones. Even some elders of 2-star sects might not necessarily have 30,000 mid-grade spirit stones. In addition to the spirit stones, Lin Xian also found the complete version of the purple demon eyes. Its power was many times stronger than the purple spirit eyes. Even though Lin Xian had the inscriptions from the stone eyeball, the purple demon eyes was still very valuable to him. As for the other low-grade, mystic-class artifacts, Lin Xian did not care about them. After putting these things away, Lin Xian stood up and looked around. He still did not find anything, so he decisively left. In the following days, Lin Xian searched according to the red marks on the map while comprehending the 4 inscriptions in his mind. These 4 inscriptions recorded the soul cultivation method, which made Lin Xian's soul cultivation speed faster than before. At the same time, he was also practicing a sword technique that Lord Alcohol had given him. The Azure Cloud 9 swords had a total of 9 stances. When used with the Great Dragon Sword intent, it was extremely powerful. After more than a month of practice, Lin Xian was able to use the first 3 stances. Over the past month, he had found almost half of the red marks on the map. The next one was 1,500 kilometers away. Lin Xian's body flashed as he darted out like a swimming dragon. This set of footwork was called the Dragon Rebel Steps. It contained the Dragon Rebel 7 Steps, which was also taught to him by Lord Alcohol. With the Dragon Rebel Steps, Lin Xian's speed was 3 times faster than before. With a flash, Lin Xian disappeared from the forest. While Lin Xian was searching for the marks on the map, the 3-star sects in the surrounding countries like China and Shadow Nation were also busy. China, snow-seeking sect. One saber, ice snow. The floating island that only opens once every few hundred years is finally open again. This time, we have been promoted to a 3-star sect. The 2 of you can enter, an elder said with a chuckle. Sword Pool Manor, Lin family. Phone! This floating island is a great opportunity. You must not miss it. The Earthfire sect, Blue Moon sect, and other 3-star sects were all preparing. Shadow Nation, Purple Demon Palace. 2 elders' faces darkened. Zixin has been out for a month. Why isn't she back yet? The floating island is about to open. Did an accident happen? Impossible. What accident can there be when dealing with a 2nd-grade inscriber? Let's wait for another 3 days. If she doesn't come back, we'll send someone else. This is a competition between all the factions in the Tianan region. We can't be careless. Lin Xian didn't know about this. He was looking for his next destination. 5 days later, he arrived at a mountain peak. Still nothing. Lin Xian sighed. He didn't plan to waste any more time. Rest up. I'll go somewhere else to train. Lin Xian took out the frost platform and began cultivating. Not long after, the sky suddenly darkened as if a huge palm had covered the sky. At the same time, a terrifying pressure came from the sky. Whoosh! Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes and put away the frost platform. He looked cautiously at the sky. Wooji wooji! The snow-white monkey jumped onto his shoulder and looked curiously at the sky with its black, gem-like eyes. Ever since it ate the dragon fruit, it had fallen into a deep sleep and had only woken up a few days ago. This pressure should come from a strange, independent space, said Lord Alcohol with a voice transmission. Lin Xian touched his chin. What kind of space is so scary? Buzz, buzz! Suddenly, thousands of rays of light shot down from the dark sky and flew in all directions. One of them flew toward Lin Xian. Chapter 248. Lin Xian was enveloped by the light from the sky and felt warm all over. What's going on? Lin Xian was puzzled. Let's see what you have on you, Lord Alcohol transmitted. Lin Xian scanned with a soul spirit and suddenly exclaimed. In the corner of his storage ring, there was a palm-sized stone token that emitted a gentle light. Beside it, there was a stone key. These 2 items were obtained when Lin Xian obtained the Wind Thearca sword. He didn't expect them to be of use at this moment. He took out the stone token and placed it in his palm. Buzz! The void trembled as the light resonated with the stone token and gradually became blurry. Lin Xian didn't hesitate as he grabbed the token and disappeared with the light. If he wasn't wrong, the place he was going to was related to the Wind Arch. He wouldn't miss out on something that could increase his strength. At the same time, the disciples of the 3-star and above sects were also taken away by the light. After an unknown period of time, Lin Xian woke up again. Birds chirped, flowers bloomed, and waterfalls flowed. The surroundings were like a fairyland. The dense trees were hundreds of meters tall, and their branches were strong and vigorous like horned dragons. Lin Xian released his soul spirit and didn't sense any danger. Only then did he heave a sigh of relief. The teleportation made him feel extremely tired. He just wanted to have a good sleep. Hiding in the bushes, Lin Xian lowered his aura to the lowest and entered a state of rest. A day later, he slowly woke up. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian's essence, energy, and spirit reached their peak. What dense spiritual energy! He sighed. The spiritual energy here far exceeded that of the outside world. Even a third-grade sect couldn't compare to it. Cultivating here for a day was probably equivalent to cultivating for a few days outside. Lin Xian's eyes flashed and were incomparably deep. He obtained the cultivation method of the purple demon eyes from Purple Heart Storage Ring and upgraded his purple spirit eyes to the purple demon eyes. At the same time, he used the method taught by Lord Alcohol to hide the purple light. Now, when he used his eye technique, only faint runes flashed. There was no longer any purple light. Practicing the secret arts of other sects was a taboo. Moreover, the Purple Extreme Devil Palace was a 3-star sect. Lin Xian didn't want to be hunted down by them every day. The purple demon eyes had a total of 6 stages. Violet Knight had only cultivated to the 3rd stage, while Violet Heart had cultivated to the 4th. The difference was that Ziyi needed to borrow the power of his bloodline to use the Flame of the Soul, while ZXAN could easily use it. With the foundation of the purple spirit eyes and his powerful soul force, Lin Xian quickly reached the 4th stage. Now he could also use the soul flame. He turned his gaze and looked around. In the end, he discovered that this space was so big that he couldn't see the end of it. That day, many multicolored lights descended from the sky. It seems like I wasn't the only one who entered this place. Could it be that it was the same as the trial by blood and fire, with many sects entering? In fact, Lin Xian's guess was not far from the truth. There were indeed many sects that had entered, but the standard this time was clearly much higher than in the cloud state. To be able to enter this place, one had to be a 3-star sect at the very least. Let's scout it out first. Lin Xian decided to scout the situation first. Using the Dragon Inverse Steps, Lin Xian's speed was extremely fast. Half a day later, Lin Xian came to a mountain peak and fell into deep thought. Hee, kid, you finally discovered it. Lord Alcohol chuckled. You already knew? Lin Xian was taken aback as he helplessly stroked his chin. He took out the old map marked with a red mark and looked at it carefully. If one looked carefully, they would realize that some of the places Lin Xian had passed by were shockingly similar to what was drawn on the map. Could this map have been drawn here? Lin Xian had a bold idea. You guessed right. This should be a strategy that has been circulated. Lord Alcohol snorted. Then what are we waiting for? The treasures buried in such a treasure ground must be extraordinary. Lin Xian's heart burned with passion. He took out the map and found his location. Then he found the area closest to him that was marked with a red dot. Wu-ji. The snow-white monkey also pointed in that direction and cheered. Let's go. Rubbing the monkey's head, Lin Xian transformed into a beam of light. The area closest to him was a pool surrounded by mountains. Lin Xian came to a short mountain peak and his eyes flickered as he scouted the situation. In front of him was a jade-green lake that sparkled like a flawless emerald. It was a 7-meter-long saber-toothed tiger with a pair of wings on its back that were covered in metallic feathers. The demonic aura around this demonic beast was exuberant as it danced like flames around its body. At that moment, it was lowering its head to drink water, causing ripples to appear on the surface of the lake. Suddenly, the demon tiger seemed to have sensed something as it flapped its wings in an attempt to escape. Swoosh! The surface of the lake suddenly exploded as a blue light flashed. Accompanied by a deep roar, a behemoth leaped out of the water. The blue light was like lightning, more than 10 meters long. It was extremely fast and instantly pierced through the demon tiger's wings. Then, it suddenly pulled the tiger back and swallowed it. Gua. After the gigantic, demonic beast finished its meal, it was abnormally excited as it walked out of the lake. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed as he used the qi restraining art to conceal his aura. Then he carefully hid behind the mountain peak. What a huge frog! He was astonished. Beside the lake in front of him, a blue frog that looked like a small mountain stood there. Its demonic aura surged into the sky, scattering the clouds in the sky. This isn't a frog. It's a blue-eyed blue toad that contains a trace of the bloodline of an ancient beast. It's extremely ferocious, Lord Alcohol said with a voice transmission. Its ancestor is the nine-eyed heavenly toad, one of the 10 ancient beasts. 10 ancient beasts? Nine-eyed heavenly toad? Lin Xian had never heard of it. He had only heard of divine beasts like the azure dragon and true phoenix. However, Lin Xian didn't dare to be careless. He felt an aura that surpassed the spirit sea realm. This aura seemed to be even stronger than ZXan's. If Lin Xian encountered it a few days ago, he would probably have to run. However, his strength had increased by quite a bit. Even if he wasn't a match for it, he could still protect himself. It's actually a blue-eyed blue toad. Its skin is of the best quality. Not only is its defense extremely strong, but it also contains poison. Even a harmonious spirit expert would have to stay away from it. A few loud laughs were heard, causing the lake water to tremble and countless waves to rise. Whoosh! 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 5 figures landed in front of him as they stared at the blue-eyed blue toad with fiery eyes. These 5 people were very young, only in their 20s, but their auras were extremely powerful. They were not inferior to Ziyi, Yufei, and the rest. Lin Xian frowned slightly as he looked at the figures in the distance, in surprise. What powerful strength! Who are these people? I'm afraid they're disciples from large sects participating in the trial. They're at least at the level of the Purple Extreme Devil Palace, Lord Alcohol said in a deep voice. Lin Xian was vigilant. The Purple Extreme Devil Palace was a 3-star sect. It was one of the top forces in the Xia country, Shadow country, and other places. If the disciples here were all from 3-star sects, it would be too terrifying. Chapter 249. These people are almost on par with Ziyi, Yufei, and the others. Lin Xian sensed and praised inwardly. At this moment, the people in the distance made their move. Several terrifying attacks attacked the blue-eyed blue toad, and the power made Lin Xian's eyelids twitch. These people were all at the peak of the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier and used spirit tier martial arts, which were extremely powerful. The blue-eyed blue toad was furious. It cried out twice, and its tongue lashed out like a whip. Huh! Chi! Chi! A neat cut appeared on the ground. The 5 people quickly dodged and attacked again. For a moment, the nearby rocks shattered and the lake surged. Shao, Xuanzi, go to the bottom of the lake. There might be blue-eyed blue toad eggs, Lord Alcohol transmitted. Lin Xian was overjoyed when he heard this, and he left quietly. Circling to a distance, Lin Xian dove into the water like a fish and quickly swam downwards. At the same time, the leader of the 5 said, "Quickly, junior sister Sue, go to the bottom of the lake and see if there are any blue-eyed blue toad eggs. If there are, we must retrieve them. The rest of you, attack with all your might. We must finish them off before the Black Wind sect." Yes. The 4 martial artists attacked with all their might, while junior sister Sue transformed into a spirit armor that covered her body and dove into the lake. Lin Xian was swimming underwater. The width of the lake was far beyond his imagination, and the pressure underwater was much stronger than the outside. Suddenly, his brows twitched and he looked up. Over there, a beautiful figure was descending at a rapid speed. It's her. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He recognized that the woman was one of the members attacking the blue-eyed blue toad. Looks like she has the same idea as me. Lin Xian's face darkened and he increased his speed. Su Xiao also saw someone below and was surprised. Could it be the Black Wind sect's people? Thinking of this, she couldn't help but increase her speed. The spirit armor on her body gradually changed and transformed into a fishtail-shaped light under her feet. Whew! With a swing of her fishtail, Su Zhao's speed doubled. So fast! Lin Xian was shocked. He could sense that the woman was rapidly approaching. He turned around and unleashed his extreme purple pupil, and a look of realization appeared on his face when he saw the fishtail-shaped beam of light. The spirit energy in Lin Xian's body circulated, and the armor on his body continuously changed, finally transforming into the shape of a flood dragon. His dragon tail shook, and his body flew out like a sharp sword. Haha, so fast! Lin Xian's face lit up. He had the great dragon sword seal, so this change was nothing to him. However, when this change fell into Su Zhao's eyes, it caused a great commotion. She cultivated a type of martial skill that allowed her to transform into a fishtail, and the person below had obviously learned it on the spot, which made her extremely surprised. Gritting his teeth, Su Zhao circulated his spirit energy with all his might, increasing his speed once more. Whoosh! Whoosh! The flow of water around them became rapid, as if something was coming. Lin Xian's soul force was outstanding. As he looked over, his expression changed. A school of strangely shaped fish was rapidly swimming toward them. There were over 100 of them. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, this school of strange fish had already arrived in front of Lin Xian. Their heads were like lizards, and their bodies were slender with fine fish scales. Their sharp teeth were comparable to treasured weapons, shining with a cold light. Crack, crack! A finger-sized hole had been bitten into Lin Xian's protective spiritual armor, and he was covered in wounds. Damn it! Lin Xian's expression changed drastically, and he immediately unleashed the copper thunder pattern. Rings of mysterious thunder patterns covered his body, and violent lightning surged, overflowing in the water. Crackle, crackle! Like a furious thunder dragon, it killed all the fish within 20 meters. However, even more strange fish were biting toward him. Go! Lin Xian did not dare to delay, and with a stroke of his finger, he unleashed the wind-splitting stance. The water in front of him seemed to have been cut open, and a vacuum appeared. Lin Xian seized the opportunity, and his body rushed out like a flood dragon. There's light ahead! Lin Xian's body moved, and he swam toward the light. The light was a bubble with a diameter of about 10 meters. There were some basin-sized eggs and millstone-sized tadpoles swimming inside. It's the blue-eyed blue toad's eggs. Lin Xian was overjoyed. At the same time, he realized that the strange fish behind him were wandering in the distance, not daring to approach the bubbles. That's right, these bubbles contain a thick, evil aura. Normal demonic beasts would not dare to approach them. Just as Lin Xian was about to collect the blue-eyed blue toad's eggs, a light flashed behind him, and a figure rushed out quickly. As expected of a disciple of a large sect, you got out of danger so quickly. Lin Xian praised. The person behind him was Su Zhao. She held a red, thin sword in her hand, and she killed a bloody path. Demonic beast eggs. Su Zhao's eyes were filled with surprise, and then she looked at Lin Xian. I'm from the Star Peak Pavilion. If you know what's good for you, leave quickly. These aren't things you can have. She scolded, and at the same time, she quickly approached the bubbles below. Lin Xian ignored her, and his gaze swept across the demonic beast eggs below. Suddenly his brows twitched. In one of the bubbles there was an egg. There were strands of golden light twining around it, and it faintly emitted an unusual aura. There's actually a phenomenon of atavism. Lord Alcohol was shocked. Xiao Xuanzi, this is good stuff. When it grows up, it'll be comparable to a spirit detecting realm expert. Spirit detecting realm. That's an existence even stronger than a harmonious spirit realm expert. Lin Xian's eyes burned with passion, and he quickly rushed toward the golden egg. You're courting death. Su Xiao shouted from the side. Her target was also the golden egg. Without hesitation, she stabbed out with her red thin sword. Several sword beams tore through the water and rushed toward Lin Xian. With a stomp, Lin Xian's body twisted strangely, dodging all the sword beams. At the same time, runes flashed in his eyes. Sword Spirit World. When she came into contact with Lin Xian's right eye, Su Zhao's body trembled, as if her soul was being sucked away. Her surroundings changed drastically. Several pitch-black chains bound her tighter and tighter, making it difficult for her to breathe. You're from the Purple Extreme Devil Palace. Su Xiao screamed and struggled frantically. It was rumored that the disciples of the Purple Extreme Devil Palace were ruthless and knew an eye technique called the Purple Extreme Devil Eyes. The young man in front of her was clearly using an eye technique. Purple Extreme Devil Palace? Lin Xian was slightly stunned. Did they come in as well? Although he was surprised, he didn't slow down. He released the snow-white monkey, and a white light rushed toward the golden egg. It's useless. You don't have a demonic beast pouch. You can't raise it. Su Xiao screamed from afar. Whoosh! With a flash, Lin Xian arrived in front of Su Xiao. What are you doing? Su Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of panic. Since you know so much, you must have a demonic beast pouch on you. Lin Xian reached out and grabbed Su Xiao's waist. Shameless. I won't give it to you. Su Xiao bit the tip of her tongue and temporarily regained her consciousness. The red rapier drew a strange arc in the air, aiming for Lin Xuancheng's eyes, chest, and throat. Su Xiao, on the other hand, kept retreating. Purple Extreme Devil Eyes, 4th level. Lin Xian's body moved erratically, and an invisible soul force rushed toward Su Xiao. Chapter 250. Lin Xian used an extremely powerful illusion to make Su Xiao fall into a trance. With a flash of his hand, he took the demonic beast pouch from Su Xiao's waist. Woo! A white light flew over from afar. The snow-white monkey was holding a demonic beast egg that was the size of a wash basin. It was crying out happily. At this moment, a croaking sound came from the bubble below. Not good. Lin Xian's expression changed. He put the golden demonic beast egg into the demonic beast pouch and quickly left with the snow-white monkey. The sound from below was getting louder and louder. It woke Su Xiao up from the illusion. Damn it! Su Xiao's delicate face was filled with anger. As an elite disciple of the Star Peak sect, she had never been taken advantage of. But now, in the hands of Lin Xian, not only did she lose the demonic beast pouch, but even the precious demonic beast egg was stolen. Ah, bastard! Su Xiao shouted angrily. She quickly swam up. I must tell Senior Brother to capture this abominable fellow. At the lakeside, the other 4 disciples of the Star Peak sect were fighting with the blue-eyed blue toad. Suddenly, a croaking sound came from the bottom of the lake. Croak! The sound made the blue-eyed blue toad extremely irritable. It jumped into the water. Junior apprentice sister, Su must have succeeded. Stop it! The 4 of them worked together. Sword chi intertwined in the air, forming a 100-meter-long sword net. Every sword chi was as thick as a tree. Buzz! The sword net emitted a dazzling light. It stopped the blue-eyed blue toad and quickly pressed down. Whoosh! Whoosh! The blue-eyed blue toad cried out angrily. Its body kept colliding with the huge sword net. The ground cracked. Huge waves that were hundreds of meters high rushed towards the crowd. At the same time, the blue light on its body flickered. It opened its mouth and spat out a blue mist. Retreat! It's poisonous! The disciples of the Star Peak Pavilion scattered as fast as lightning. Chi! The blue mist came into contact with the sword net and burned a hole that was more than 10 meters wide. Croak! The blue-eyed blue toad's body bounced. It moved like a mountain, bringing with it countless gusts of wind. Whoosh! The sword net was torn open and finally broke. The blue-eyed blue toad also escaped into the lake. What a terrifying, poisonous fog! This blue-eyed blue toad was much stronger than we had imagined. Forget it. There are many treasures on Floating Island. There's no need for us to waste time here. Junior sister, Sue, should be coming out soon. Whoosh! As he spoke, a sword light broke through the surface of the lake and landed on the ground. Junior apprentice sister Sue. The four of them were overjoyed and hurried over. How is it? Did you get it? We dug out 2 demonic beast eggs. However, a bastard appeared and snatched away one of the demonic beast eggs. Su Xiao said through gritted teeth. What? Someone dares to go against our Star Peak Pavilion? Could it be the Black Wind sect? Golden thread demonic egg. Could it be an atavistic phenomenon? Everyone was shocked. Senior brothers, your guess is correct. It is indeed a phenomenon of atavism. But he's not from the Black Wind sect. That brat is proficient in eye techniques. He should be from the Purple Extreme Devil Palace. Su Zhao's face was filled with lingering fear when he thought about how he had fallen into an illusion. Purple Extreme Devil Palace. Their faces darkened. Although their eye techniques are powerful, our Star Peak Pavilion is not to be trifled with. Junior apprentice sister, draw that brat's face. We'll gather the others. We must snatch the demonic beast eggs back. He escaped before me, but he shouldn't have gone far. Let's chase after him. Su Xiao seemed to have thought of something. Right, he also snatched my demonic beast pouch. There should be my aura on it. Damn it, I can't sense it. Don't worry. The Purple Extreme Devil Palace is proficient in soul power. They should have used some method to hide it. However, the demonic beast pouch was bestowed by the Sex Elders. The aura on it is impossible for a sea of soul realm martial artists to erase. As long as we ask the Mu clan for help, we can definitely find that person. The 5 of them made a decision and quickly left the place. After a long time, the surface of the lake rippled slightly. A figure quickly jumped onto the shore. Star Peak Pavilion? Demonic beast pouch's aura? No wonder I felt a vague fluctuation. This figure was Lin Xian. After obtaining the demonic beast eggs, he didn't escape immediately. Instead, he hid in the water. Seems like this Mu clan is also proficient in soul power. I must be careful. Taking out the demonic beast pouch, Lin Xian's fingers moved. Lines of mysterious inscriptions appeared, forming a pattern in the air. Seal! He growled. The inscriptions in the air suddenly shone brightly. Then they poured into the demonic beast pouch and sealed the aura on it. It should be fine now, right? Lin Xian put away the demonic beast pouch and quickly left the place. Walking in the forest, Lin Xian took out the map again. Seems like the things recorded here are indeed good. However, without enough strength, there is no way to obtain them. Lin Xian put away the map and headed for the next marked location. The floating island was very vast. No one knew where it ended. Moreover, it was very dangerous. Not only were there competition between disciples of other sects, there were also many powerful demonic beasts. If one didn't have enough strength, they would only become food for others. For the next 2 days, Lin Xian traveled through the forest. The tall trees were at least 100 meters tall. The leaves were lush and covered the sky. There were many demonic beasts that were hibernating. Some of them were abnormally powerful, far beyond what a sea of soul realm martial artist could handle. During this time, he saw a 10-meter-tall white jade demonic elephant and a 20-meter-long two-headed demonic wolf fighting. That scene was deeply imprinted in his heart and could not be erased. In the end, the two destroyed everything within a 1,000-meter radius and perished together. After waiting for a long time, Lin Xian was sure that they were really dead. Only then did he jump down from the 10-meter-high branch. His body was like a swimming dragon, extremely agile. Wooji wooji. The little white monkey jumped down from his shoulder and quickly went to the two huge demonic beasts. Its furry little paw dug out two demonic crystals the size of a fist. They were like exquisite gems, shining with a demonic light. What a thick demonic qi! Lin Xian felt the demonic qi on them and slightly changed his expression. Wuji! The little white monkey waved its paw and swallowed the two demonic crystals. Eating so much at once. Aren't you afraid of being stuffed? Lin Xian scolded. Wuji wuji. The little white monkey's face was full of mockery as it constantly gestured. Finally, it opened its mouth, and the two demonic crystals appeared in its hands. This little guy, is very strange. Don't make a fuss about it. Lord Alcohol laughed. Lin Xian rolled his eyes. He realized that the little white monkey seemed to have a strange space that could store things. Ignoring the little white monkey, Lin Xian began to dissect the materials on the two demonic beasts. The white jade demonic elephant's tusks were as smooth as jade and extremely hard. Even his autumn scar sword could not damage them. They were definitely excellent materials for refining. As for the two-headed demonic wolf's teeth and claws, they were also rare items. They were also excellent materials for refining. Finally, Lin Xian peeled off the entire demonic wolf skin. After doing this, he set off again. Awoo! Lin Xian quickly approached his destination. Suddenly, a series of roars came from ahead. Chapter 251. This cry rang out in the forest, startling countless birds. Sensing the direction of the sound, Lin Xian couldn't help but speed up. If he remembered correctly, that place was the destination marked on the map. Using the dragon rebel steps, Lin Xian transformed into a beam of light as he sped through the forest. The ground in front of him suddenly shook. From time to time, roars could be heard. Furthermore, there was an extremely dense, demonic aura. Lin Xian concealed his aura and carefully advanced. He hid behind a tree trunk and frowned slightly. A pungent smell of blood wafted from the ground, making him feel nauseous. There were many corpses of demonic beasts piled up on the ground. The fresh blood formed a small river that flowed continuously. At that moment, there were three powerful demonic beasts that looked at each other with hostility as they growled. Near them was a cave that was 1/2 meter tall. From time to time, a strange fragrance wafted out. Woo-ji woo-ji! The fragrance made the snow-white monkey cry out. Its body swayed as it attempted to charge out. Thankfully, Lin Xian had been staring at it the entire time. When it didn't move, he hurriedly held it down. However, the snow-white monkey's cry attracted the attention of the three powerful demonic beasts. So, a wind blade that was more than 10 meters long struck the tree trunk, producing a loud boom. With a stomp of his foot, Lin Xian's body abruptly shot forward before landing lightly on the ground. Roar! The three demonic beasts looked at Lin Xian and constantly roared with a strong sense of warning. Lin Xian secretly circulated his spirit energy and, at the same time, used his extreme purple eye to look into the cave. Inside, there were many rocks. Amidst the rocks was a fist-sized green liquid that emitted a strange fragrance. It's actually earth spirit liquid. No wonder it attracted so many demonic beasts. Lord Alcohol was enlightened. Earth spirit liquid. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He had heard of this liquid. It was condensed from underground spirit veins. Every drop contained powerful spirit energy. No matter how injured one was, as long as one didn't die, one drop of earth spirit liquid would allow one to quickly recover. Furthermore, this liquid had the effect of raising a warrior or demonic beast's realm. Gulp! Even though Lin Xian was used to seeing treasures, When he saw the great earth essence, he was still moved. This kind of treasure must be obtained. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed, and the aura on his body gradually became fierce. Feeling the change in Lin Xian's aura, the three monster beasts began to roar uneasily. They had just gone through a great battle and were all injured, which affected their strength. Whoosh! The snow-white little monkey's body flashed and directly rushed out. Whoosh! The demonic beast on the right was a huge spider as big as a house. It spat out a spider web to seal the cave entrance. Bang! The snow-white monkey was obstructed and its body was revealed. An angry expression appeared on its face. Behind him, two strands of sparkling and translucent spider silk quickly wrapped around the little monkey. Woogie woogie! The snow-white little monkey kept flashing around, scratching its ears and cheeks. The fact that these three demonic beasts were able to stand out among the thousands of demonic beasts was enough to show how extraordinary they were. Even the little snow-white monkey was blocked by them. The other two demonic beasts were a white spot demon tiger and a blue-winged demon wolf. The two demonic beasts had a thick demonic chi flowing around them, which was extremely frightening. If it were any other time, Lin Xian would definitely turn around and leave. But right now, the two demonic beasts were both injured, with horrifying wounds on their bodies. Lin Xian decided to fight with his life on the line. With a flick of his finger, the autumn scar sword appeared in his hand. Wind style! The sword light flashed, and the sword chi in the sky merged with the wind, stabbing towards the two demonic beasts' wounds. Roar! The white crystal demon tiger waved its sharp claws, forming a couple of red sharp blades in the air, which were as sharp as blades. These demonic beasts had very sensitive senses. Although they could not see the sword chi, they could still sense it. With a leap, the white crystal demon tiger barely dodged Lin Xian's sword chi. On the other side, the blue-winged demon wolf shook its wings, forming countless wind blades that rushed towards Lin Xian. Crack! 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 The ground and the trees nearby were all hit by the wind blades, causing countless cracks to appear. Shoo! The sword chi surged, and the sword intent surged, cutting apart the wind blades in the sky. Then, with an extremely strange speed, it stabbed towards the double-winged demon wolf. Wind Emperor's sword. After more than a month of training, Lin Xian had already grasped 60% of it, and this sword was extremely unpredictable. Shoo! Shoo! Almost as soon as the sword light flashed, the sharp sword chi had already stabbed into the wound on the demonic wolf's stomach. The power of wind and thunder surged, quickly destroying the demonic wolf's body. That wound had already turned from 0.5 meter to 1 meter. Awoo! The blue-winged cradle roared towards the sky, ignoring the wounds on its body as it rushed towards Lin Xian. On the other hand, the white crystal demon tiger pounced towards the cave. With a flash of blue light, the demonic wolf pounced towards Lin Xian like a gust of wind, bringing with it the smell of blood and overflowing demonic chi. Boom! Stomping on the ground with its 4 limbs, the demonic wolf jumped up high and spat out countless wind blades. Lin Xian used the dragon rebel step, and his body was like an azure dragon swinging its tail, quickly moving away. However, the demonic wolf in midair flapped its wings and disappeared. When it reappeared, Lin Xian was only 1 meter away from it. Whoosh! Whoosh! Its claws slashed out, tearing through the void. Lin Xian couldn't dodge in time, and hurriedly used the copper thunder pattern to block this attack. Boom! As if a mountain had crashed into him, the thunder pattern flickered as it resisted this attack with all its might. Lin Xian's face turned pale. Clearly, this attack had made him feel very uncomfortable. However, he didn't let go of this opportunity. Cloud-severing sword. The long sword slashed out like a rainbow, as if it was going to cut the clouds in the sky in half. The thick sword chi landed on the demonic wolf's body, producing a cracking sound. At such a close distance, the demonic wolf didn't have any chance to dodge, and the cloud-severing sword's power landed on its body. Flesh and blood splattered as the sword Chi quickly sliced through, revealing the white bones inside. Boom! Awoo! The demonic wolf landed on the ground, dying. Lightning chain! Lin Xian was still worried. He waved his hand, and 5 lightning bolts appeared in the void, connecting together and striking down. The demonic wolf didn't have any resistance and was shattered into pieces. Lin Xian's body flashed, and he ran toward the white crystal demon tiger. Just now, the white crystal demon tiger wanted to take advantage of the chaos to sneak into the cave, but it was trapped by the spider's web and it kept struggling. Cloud-severing sword. Lin Xian raised his long sword and slashed down. The sword Qi was like a rainbow, shaking the void, tearing everything apart, and slashing toward the white crystal demon tiger. Roar! Although the demon tiger was trapped by the spider's web, it didn't just sit there and wait for death. The tiger stripes on its body emitted light, forming a light above its head. A huge tiger shadow appeared in the void. Boom! 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 The sword Qi clashed with the light, and a dazzling light burst out. Shoo! Lin Xian's body flashed, and he disappeared from the spot. Dragon counterattack, 7 steps. His body swayed like a green dragon, and he stepped on the demon tiger's head. Crack! The sound of bones breaking was heard, and blood and brain matter flew out together. The white crystal demon tiger didn't even have time to cry out before its body fell to the ground. After taking care of the 2 demonic beasts, Lin Xian set his eyes on the last spider. Chapter 252. The snow-white monkey kept flashing, and behind it there were always 2 sparkling spider silks dancing. Lin Xian saw this and slashed out. The dazzling sword Qi was like a dragon, whistling through the air. Dang, dang, dang. The sharp sword Qi landed on the spider silks, but it only caused a few sparks. Such strong toughness! Lin Xian was surprised. One had to know that his sword contained 20% sword intent. Normal martial artists in the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier couldn't block it, but the 2 spider silks didn't cause any damage. The demonic beasts on the floating island were indeed abnormal. Lin Xian muttered, and at the same time changed the direction of his sword, stabbing towards the huge body of the venomous spider. Chi! 2 fist-sized holes appeared on its body, and instantly green blood flowed out. Hoo! The 8 huge legs of the venomous spider danced wildly. Each leg was like a divine spear, able to pierce through everything. Lin Xian and the snow-white monkey were like lightning, leaving countless after-images in the air. Their speed was extremely fast. Dragon counterattack, 7 steps. Lin Xian's body was like a long dragon, swaying nonstop. His feet emitted a dangerous aura. Dong! 1 foot stepped on the venomous spider's body, smashing out a terrifying bloody hole. 2nd step! The foot landed again, and another bloody hole appeared. At the same time, the venomous spider roared at the sky, and the 2 sparkling spider silks abandoned the snow-white monkey, waving towards Lin Xian with all its might. Ka, ka, ka! Wherever the sparkling spider silks passed, the rocks were cut open mercilessly, and the surrounding trees were all cut in half. Lin Xian didn't dare to be careless. Even if he used Copper Lace Body, he could still feel a heart-shaking aura. With a leap, he left the venomous spider's body. Another sword light flashed, and this sword cut right on the bloody hole. More than half of the sword Qi pierced into the spider's body. The power of wind and thunder surged, and the long sword cut the venomous spider's body in half. Hoo! Chi! Green blood splattered in all directions. Everything in the surroundings quickly withered and terrifying wounds appeared. Lin Xian held his breath and removed the 2 sparkling spider silks, then quickly rushed towards the cave. Puff! With a slash of his sword, Lin Xian bent his body and prepared to enter. Suddenly, a cold light flashed under his body and shot up into the sky, piercing his chest. At this moment, Lin Xian could feel the aura of death. The sword intent in his eyes surged as he slashed out together with the Sword of Soul. Ding! The cold light was blocked, and its speed slowed down for a moment. However, in the blink of an eye, it once again stabbed towards Lin Xian. Ding! Boom! The sharp tip pierced his chest, bringing with it a strange rotating force. The lightning mark flashed and condensed a thick lightning defense in front of Lin Xian's chest. However, this sharpness was too sharp. It actually drilled out a fingernail-sized hole and pierced under the lightning pattern. Puff! Lin Xian spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot as if he had suffered a heavy blow. His body slammed into the wall and flew out along with the rubble. Whoosh! A translucent figure appeared in a flash, holding a star-like dagger in his hand, flickering with a cold light. Jia Jia! Earth Spirit Liquid, Wuji Wuji! The little white monkey saw Lin Xian flying out and shouted anxiously. Its body swayed and disappeared. You're courting death. The translucent figure was suddenly enraged. The dagger in his hand suddenly pierced towards the top of the Earth Spirit Liquid. Wuji! With a flash of white light, the little white monkey quickly escaped. The translucent figure sneered and looked at the Earth Spirit Liquid. His face instantly darkened. The fist-sized Earth Spirit Liquid was reduced by half. Damn monkey! The translucent figure let out a low growl. He took out a jade bottle and stored the remaining Earth Spirit Liquid. Even the land on the ground had been taken away by him. After doing all this, he looked at Lin Xian in the distance. To be able to kill 3 rank 5 demonic beasts and have a strange monkey, your identity must be extraordinary. Let's see if there's anything good. Like a ghost, the translucent figure floated over. Whoosh! The pale white palm gradually materialized and finally became no different from an ordinary person. The palm slowly reached out and grabbed Lin Xian's storage ring. At this moment, Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes. Soul fire! An invisible flame flew out from his left eye and landed on the translucent figure. It immediately burned. A scream rang out. The translucent figure immediately retreated and escaped into the distance. There were still flames dancing on his body. Trying to run? Lin Xian's body swayed, and his sword pierced out like a shooting star. Ding! The translucent figure raised the dagger in his hand to block, cutting off the dazzling sword qi and colliding with the blade at the same time. Boom! Lin Xian's body swayed and dispelled the strange power. The translucent figure also retreated a few steps and gradually revealed a human face. Impossible! How can you still be alive after being hit by the cold star? The voice was filled with shock. After hiding for so long, you actually made a move at the last moment. You're indeed sinister. Lin Xian's voice was cold. Fortunately, he had obtained a mystic-level high-grade armor from Purple Heart, which saved his life. Kiki brat scram, or I'll kill you. After saying that, he waved the dagger in his hand. Soul fire! Lin Xian did not waste time and directly attacked. An invisible flame flew out, causing the translucent figure to scream again. It's useless, you can only injure me, but you can't kill me, the translucent figure shouted. Soul fire has a strong side effect on the eyes. Let's see how many times you can use it. After saying that, he actually endured the pain of his soul and rushed forward with the dagger in his hand. Soul sword. Lin Xian continued to merge the great dragon's sword intent and finally succeeded after more than 10 times. Whoosh! Dragon-shaped sword qi flew out with a destructive aura. Impossible. The translucent figure finally panicked. His soul seemed to be extinguished at any time. Pooh! The soul sword mercilessly slashed down. Together with the soul fire, the translucent figure's soul was destroyed. Boom! A figure appeared and landed on the ground. Lin Xian, on the other hand, covered his eyes and frowned. As he used the soul fire and soul sword, he realized that the damage to his eyes was increasing. It seemed that he could only use it as a trump card. Lin Xian sighed. Fortunately, he could still use illusions and other eye techniques. I was careless this time. Lin Xian covered his chest with a look of lingering fear. Even now, his chest was still faintly hurting. Through his soul force, he could sense that there was a needle-sized hole in his high-grade, profound rank armor. This dagger is really good stuff. Lin Xian took off the dagger and storage ring from the man's body. His soul power reached out, and a jade bottle appeared in his hand. Inside, there were dozens of drops of emerald green liquid that emitted a shocking aura of life. Wooji wooji! The snow-white monkey jumped onto Lin Xian's body and spat out a dozen drops of earth spirit liquid. Then it pointed at the dagger and the transparent spider silk. Obviously, this little monkey wanted to trade. Chapter 253. This dagger was dark blue in color, as deep as the stars. The two words Cold Star were carved on the hilt. To be able to pierce through his copper thunder mark and leave a mark on a profound grade upper grade armor, this Cold Star was obviously not an ordinary weapon. Conservatively speaking, it should be a profound grade upper grade artifact. Of course, it could also be a profound grade upper grade artifact. The spider silk was extremely tough. Even his autumn scar sword couldn't cut through it, making it even more precious. However, Lin Xian agreed without any hesitation. Firstly, he didn't need a dagger, and this Cold Star would be more useful in the hands of the little monkey. Plus, there were 2 strands of spider silk. Lin Xian didn't feel bad about giving away 1 strand. After all, it would be beneficial for him if the little monkey became stronger. Furthermore, the benefits of the Great Earth Spirit Liquid were far greater than these weapon materials. Only when he became stronger would it be the most realistic. After a tough battle, Lin Xian had some enlightenment. He wanted to go into seclusion for a few days. He found an empty cave and blocked it with a huge rock. Then he took out the cold platform. Raising his head, Lin Xian dripped a drop of the Great Earth Spirit Liquid into it. That rich life essence filled every pore of his body, cleansing his body continuously. The 6 spiritual seas in his body surged, wrapping around the drop of Great Earth Spirit Liquid and quickly absorbing the energy within. Meanwhile, Lin Xian's cultivation was increasing at a visible speed. 2 hours later, some black impurities were expelled from his body. Lin Xian's body had been refined by the profound ice chi and the ice fire flame wine. He had already surpassed the normalcy of Soul Realm. Now, with the nourishment of the Great Earth Spirit Liquid, his body was already comparable to a half-step, harmonious spirit realm warrior. Forming a seal with both hands, the power of wind and thunder surged, shaking off the impurities on his body. Changing the seals, Lin Xian closed his eyes and absorbed the energy of the Great Earth Spirit Liquid. On the side, the little monkey also swallowed a drop of Great Earth Spirit Liquid. Then, its eyes became blurry and it fell into a deep sleep. Just as Lin Xian was in seclusion, the 5 people from Star Peak Sect met the people from Purple Extreme Demon Palace. Without any warning, the Star Peak Sect's cultivators attacked with all their might, beating up the Purple Extreme Devil Palace's disciples. This unlucky disciple was Z. His eyes had already recovered, and his cultivation had also improved quite a bit. But even so, he was still unable to withstand the attacks of the 5 people. Purple Demon Eyes. Ziyi used her bloodline power, released a large-scale illusion, and then quickly fled. Hand over the golden egg, or levitating island will have no place for your purple extreme demon palace. Su Xiao shouted, "What bullshit, demonic beast egg? I don't know." Yi cursed angrily. "Humph! Although you didn't take it, your fellow sect member did. If you know what's good for you, then cooperate with us and find that brat together." Another person shouted, "Yi didn't believe their nonsense at all." He unleashed his bloodline power with all his might, and his body transformed into a streak of light as he fled. Could it be that someone else stole it? Yi thought. There were 4 of them this time. Other than him, the other 3 were his senior brothers. One of them was a half-step, harmonious spirit cultivator. Whoosh! The sound of the air being torn apart rang out again from behind. The 5 people from the Star Peak sect had caught up and formed a stellar sword formation to besiege Yi. The sword light fell from the sky like a meteor, exploding towards Yi. That terrifying presence was enough to annihilate an ordinary martial artist in the 7th layer of the spiritual C tier. Purple extreme demonic shadow, blood fiend descent. The bloodline power in Ye's body rumbled as he unleashed his strongest attack. His body transformed into a blood demon as he fought against the falling meteor shower. Rumble! Great stars fell one after another, smashing into the ground. Countless trees collapsed and mountain peaks were shattered. Violet Knight was heavily injured and vomited blood. However, by relying on the power of his bloodline, he was able to withstand this wave of attacks. However, the next wave of sword rain and shooting stars was about to arrive. Soulfire. He clenched his teeth and used his eye technique to interfere with a Star Peak Pavilion martial artist. Taking advantage of the chaos, he fled. Star Peak Pavilion, I'll remember you. Ye's voice drifted over from afar. Senior Brother Fong. The disciples of the Star Peak Pavilion exclaimed loudly and quickly rushed to the injured warrior's side. It's actually a soul attack, damn it. Damn Purple Extreme Demonic Palace. We definitely can't let them off this time. Let's go and meet up with Senior Brother Qiming. We must eliminate them. The disciples of the Star Peak Pavilion were aggressive as they left with the injured disciple. 3 days passed in a hurry. Lin Xian finally completely absorbed the drop of Earth Spirit liquid in his body. With the addition of the ice platform, the effect reached the extreme. Merely 1 drop raised his cultivation to the peak of the 6th layer of the spiritual C tier. However, Lin Xian did not consume it again. Continuous advancement was not good. He needed battle to consolidate. Putting away the ice platform, Lin Xian discovered that the snow-white little monkey beside him was still asleep. Shaking his head, Lin Xian threw it into the demonic beast pouch. Then, he seemed to have thought of something as his eyes flickered. Finally, Lin Xian clenched his teeth and dripped a drop of Earth Spirit liquid onto the demonic beast egg. A violent mental wave spread out as the wash basin-sized egg absorbed the Earth Spirit liquid, releasing a faint golden light. I hope you won't disappoint me. Lin Xian was full of expectations for this demonic beast egg. After all, it showed signs of atavism, and now with the nourishment of the Earth Spirit liquid, its future growth was limitless. Putting away the demonic beast pouch, Lin Xian walked out of the cave. Finding the next destination on the map, Lin Xian set off again. However, this time he did not gain anything. There was a deep hole in the ground. Obviously, a stock of spirit medicine had been dug out. Could it be a coincidence? Lin Xian's heart sank as he went to the next marked location. Similarly, the item had been taken away. Looks like I'm not the only one with a guide. Lin Xian sighed. He guessed that some disciples of large sects should have the same information. Sorting out his emotions, he set off again. There's a stone door here. Let's go take a look first. Lin Xian found a conspicuous location on the map. He paid special attention to some stone objects because he still had a stone key that might come in handy. In a valley far away, the Star Peak sect disciples finally found the Mu family martial artist. That aura is very weak. Looks like it's been sealed. But don't worry, I've already sensed that aura. Where is it? The Star Peak sect martial artist asked anxiously. It's moving at high speed. It looks like Ingo is heading to the Stupa sect, a young man said. This young man was handsome, and his black hair was casually draped over his shoulders. He looked very dashing. Surrounding him was a thick layer of soul power, allowing him to float in the air. Thank you, Brother Mu Chin. The Star Peak Pavilion disciple said gratefully. There's no time to lose. Let's head to the Stupa sect immediately. The Stupa sect was an important place on Sky Island, and it was about to open. At that time, all the martial artists would probably head there. Mu Chin said lightly, We're going too. Let's go together. Thank you, Brother Mu Chin. The leading young man said respectfully, We'll definitely report this favor to Senior Brother Qiming. Chapter 254. Stupa sect was one of the oldest existences on Levitating Island. It was like a symbol of Levitating Island, standing there all year round. It was as if it had existed for tens of thousands of years. No one knew when it had appeared. Just like Levitating Island, it was always a mystery. However, this didn't stop people from paying attention to it. It was said that it was a gate of fortune with countless treasures inside. Every time Levitating Island opened, the sealing power of Stupa sect would be at its weakest. It wouldn't take long for it to open completely. At that time, all the experts on Levitating Island would gather there, waiting for their fortune. And who would obtain it? Apart from luck, one also needed great strength. Lin Xian met disciples of other sects along the way and used illusions to obtain this information. Now he was rushing to Stupa sect. From afar, Lin Xian saw a stone gate towering into the clouds, standing on the ground like a mountain peak. As he got closer, he could feel the vicissitudes of countless years. Lin Xian praised inwardly when he sensed the obscure aura above. Could this Stupa sect be related to Emperor Feng? He was puzzled, but at the same time he was looking forward to it. This should be the ruins of a sect, Lord Alcohol said in a deep voice. But it has been defeated for a long time. Probably tens of thousands of years. Lord Alcohol's voice was a little low. Tens of thousands of years? Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. One had to know that experts who entered the 3 spirit realms only had a lifespan of a few hundred years. Compared to 10,000 years, it was like comparing an ant to an elephant. What can be left behind after such a long time? Lin Xian suddenly felt a little worried. Your Wind Emperor's sword art is only an incomplete inheritance. If you can obtain the complete inheritance here, it will greatly increase your strength. The complete inheritance. Lin Xian was a little tempted. This was indeed possible. After all, he came here because of that strange key. A little further ahead, he could see figures flashing and all sorts of air-piercing sounds could be heard. All of them had powerful auras. The weakest was at the 6th sky of Spirit Sea Realm. Most of them were at the 7th sky. There were even a few whose cultivation exceeded the Spirit Sea Realm. Half-step harmonious spirit. Lin Xian's expression changed slightly. He didn't expect to see a half-step harmonious spirit expert here. He had used all of his trump cards to kill a half-step harmonious spirit expert. With the increase in his cultivation and the 2 new martial skills that he had learned, he might be able to contend against them. However, it was still difficult to kill him, unless he entered the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier or achieved small success in sword intent. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian rushed forward. On the way, Gazes swept over him from time to time, and when they saw his cultivation in the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, they all quickly retreated. Lin Xian smiled and didn't take it to heart. This was even better. He didn't need to draw attention to himself. However, if someone really treated him as an ordinary martial artist in the 6th layer of the spiritual sea realm, he wouldn't mind giving them an unforgettable lesson. As time passed, more and more people gathered around the Stupa Gate. With so many people here, it was inevitable that there would be some friction, but so far no one had fought. Most of it was because of the Stupa Gate. The chi it emitted made people revere it from the bottom of their hearts. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He roughly calculated that there were about 300 people here, and there were more coming. These people wore different sect uniforms, so it was easy to recognize them. In fact, other than Xia Country, Shadow Country, and other remote countries, the countries in the center of Tiannan region sent many disciples. Firstly, it was because of the region, and secondly, the strength of these places was different. Although they were all 3-star sects, there was still a huge gap between them. Everyone waited quietly. Suddenly, a violent spirit energy fluctuation came from afar. Several figures rushed to the vicinity of the Stupa Gate, attracting the attention of almost half of the people, because they had fought their way here. Saber chi crisscrossed with a sharp aura, as if it wanted to break through the sky. That chi dispersed the pressure from the Stupa Gate. Is this saber intent so strong? Who is this person? I don't know. Looking at his clothes, he doesn't look like someone from the big sections. Could he be a martial artist from the border region? The nearby martial artists discussed animatedly, all of them staring at the young man with the long saber. Lin Xian raised his head and looked over as well. Then, a look of surprise appeared on his face. It's him? Lin Xian rubbed his chin. He knew this young man and had even fought with him briefly. He was Yidao Lung from the Snow-Seeking sect, the genius who had comprehended saber intent. A dazzling saber light lit up like a heavenly saber and came crashing down. A murderous aura filled the air, bringing with it a chill that split the ground. Behind him, a huge fist like a small mountain punched out, colliding with the saber light and exploding. The sound was like a thunder tribulation, making everyone's ears go numb. Oh no, retreat! Damn, it's too scary! Many martial artists covered their ears with their souls and retreated quickly. Lin Xian tapped his feet lightly, his body floating like duckweed. Bastard! Hand over the spiritual medicine. The person behind him was furious. I got the spiritual medicine. I can't give it to an outsider. If you don't accept it, just fight. I'll accept it. This guy is really arrogant. He doesn't even care about someone at the peak of the 7th layer of the spiritual sea realm. Comprehending saber intent at such a young age, he must be a genius. How can such a person admit defeat? Kid, keep being arrogant. When the experts of my Black Wind sect come, I'll let you know what regret is. The black-clothed disciple snorted. He's actually a disciple of the Black Wind sect? Everyone was shocked, looking at the black-clothed martial artist in awe. Feeling everyone's frightened gaze, the black-clothed youth said proudly, "Offending my Black Wind sect, you're dead meat." It won't be long before senior brother Ling Feng arrives. At that time, he'll kill you like a dog. When he comes, we'll fight. Yidao Lung's voice was cold like ice that hadn't melted for 10,000 years. Humph! You're about to die and still dare to be arrogant. The Black Wind sect martial artist stood aside with a cold expression. Yidao Lung ignored him and walked forward. Hua! The nearby martial artists dispersed, afraid of getting involved with Yidao Lung. Yidao Lung wasn't afraid of the Black Wind sect, but that didn't mean they weren't. The Black Wind sect was powerful and was a top existence among the 3-star sections. Moreover, Ling Fengzi was among the disciples that came this time. He was one of the strongest geniuses. Seeing this, Yidao Lung's face was like ice as he walked past quickly. Brother Lung here." Suddenly, a hearty voice came from the crowd. Everyone was stunned, not daring to believe their ears. Yi Dao Lung had already offended the Black Wind sect and was avoided by everyone. Now, someone was greeting him so warmly. Didn't they know how to write the word death? The surrounding martial artists all looked back and finally saw a young man in the crowd, dressed in green. His black hair was like a waterfall. A calm smile hung on his face, and his eyes were as deep as the starry sky. Such a handsome young man. Everyone praised in their hearts. Something's wrong. Dodge! These martial artists reacted and jumped away as if they were avoiding snakes and scorpions. Their faces were filled with fear. Chapter 255. Whose kid is this? Even if you want to harm someone, you can't harm them like this. That's right. Although I'm standing close to him, we have no relationship. I don't even know him. The martial artist who was originally standing near Lin Xian tried his best to explain. Lin Xian touched his nose helplessly. Could it be that the Onyx Wind sect was really that scary? It's you? Lung Yi Dao turned his head and looked over. I didn't expect to meet you here. Seeing that your cultivation has increased so quickly, I think the battle between us will come soon. Lin Xian broke out in cold sweat. This guy was really a battle maniac. The Onyx Wind sect's disciple's face turned cold as he stared at Lin Xian like a murderous knife. Kid, you dare to walk with the enemy of the Onyx Wind sect? You're courting death. I'll give you a chance. Hurry up and get lost, or I'll kill you too. The Onyx Wind sect's disciple was very arrogant. Lin Xian frowned slightly. The inscription in his right eye flashed like a black vortex that wanted to devour people. Plop! The Onyx Wind sect's disciple knelt on the ground. His forehead was covered in cold sweat and his face was terrifyingly pale. F***CK, what happened? It seems that the kid just took a look and the Onyx Wind sect's disciple became like this. So evil. Could it be demonic arts? For a moment, the nearby martial artists all looked at Lin Xian in horror and couldn't help but take a few steps back. Lung Yi Dao was also very surprised. He knew that Lin Xian had comprehended sword intent, but he didn't expect him to know eye techniques as well. I heard that Shadow Country's Purple Extreme Demon Palace has a very powerful eye technique. You can't be related to them, right? Lung Yi Dao asked. I'm related, but it's not a friendly relationship. Lin Xian smiled. Junior brother Lun, you're here. A cold voice sounded. Lin Xian? The voice was filled with surprise. The two of them turned around and saw a beautiful figure behind them. She was like a snow lotus on an iceberg, cold and unparalleled. So it's the Ice Fairy. Lin Xian greeted with a smile. The three of them gathered together and discussed their respective opportunities. At this moment, a commotion broke out in the crowd behind him. Many people automatically opened up a path for him. Several figures slowly walked over, followed by a formless pressure on the soul. They're actually from the Purple Extreme Devil Palace. Lin Xian's face darkened slightly. He swept his gaze over and found Z, although Violet Knight hid it well. Lin Xian still noticed that he was injured. Could it be that this Violet Knight has offended someone powerful? A gloating smile appeared on Lin Xian's face. Speaking of which, they were old rivals, but now Lin Xian was confident that he could defeat him in 3 moves. However, when his gaze landed on the young man at the front, his eyelids suddenly twitched. He sensed the same aura as the dead purple heart from the young man. In fact, it was even stronger. Half-step harmonious spirit. Worthy of being a 3-star sect, we can see 2 half-step harmonious spirit experts in such a short time. Lin Xian was vigilant. The other 2 were also at the peak of the 7th level of Spirit Sea Realm. When the 4 of them stood together, they were definitely a powerful force. Half-step, harmonious spirit experts were the strongest here. So when Violet Knight and the others arrived, the crowd once again opened up a space for them. Brad, it's you? You're not dead. Violet Knight saw Lin Xian outside the crowd and his pupils shrank. The two people beside him also had a slight change in expression. As disciples of the Purple Extreme Devil Palace, they naturally knew that Violet Heart was chasing after Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian was standing there unscathed, while Violet Heart was missing. The result was obvious. Seeing the conflict between the two sides, the surrounding martial artists consciously retreated far away. Why are you still alive? Where's senior brother Violet Heart? Seems like you're not smart. Lin Xian sneered. Me being alive naturally means that Violet Heart is dead. Impossible. Senior brother Violet Heart is a half-step, harmonious spirit expert. How could he die? Z roared. The more the surrounding martial artists heard, the more frightened they became. A half-step, harmonious spirit expert was chasing after a 6th-level Spirit Sea realm martial artist, but was killed instead. No way. That's a half-step, harmonious spirit expert. Even if several 7th-level Spirit Sea realm martial artists attacked him together, they wouldn't be able to harm him. It should be fake that Brat might have used a secret technique to escape. These people didn't believe that Lin Xian was able to kill a half-step, harmonious spirit expert. The people of the Purple Extreme Devil Palace obviously didn't believe it either. Although I don't know how you escaped. Meeting us today is the day you die. Violet Knight, take a step forward. I will let you know that I am the number 1 of the Inscription Tower. You? Not interested. Lin Xian curled his lips. You're just an injured loser. Don't jump around in front of me. If you want to fight, he's more suitable. Lin Xian looked at the half-step, harmonious spirit expert in the middle. Everyone's heart jumped. This guy is crazy. He actually dares to challenge a half-step, harmonious spirit expert. The young man in the middle had a pair of triangular eyes that emitted a cold light, and purple patterns appeared on his face. A terrifying aura gushed out, as if he was being stared at by hundreds of poisonous snakes. Arrogant. Senior brother Wang, she doesn't need to do anything. I can deal with you myself. Violet Knight's body swayed, changing into a purple shadow, and quickly rushed toward Lin Xian. Both of his hands emitted a purple light, like 2 sharp saw teeth. 2 beams of light shot out from his eyes, like a divine spear, piercing through the void. What kind of power is this? Why am I trembling? Too scary, retreat quickly. The surrounding cultivators retreated like a receding tide, creating a vacuum. Lin Xian wasn't afraid. He took a step forward, and his body appeared above Violet Knight. Die! Violet Knight put his palms together, and 2 sharp saw teeth quickly slashed toward Lin Xian, emitting a dazzling light in the air. Boom! With just one stomp, Lin Xian had crushed the purple saw that was tens of meters long with just one stomp. I don't believe it. Die for me. Violet Knight's eyes moved. The light in his eyes was like a divine sword sweeping across the void. Clang! Clang! Another 2 steps landed on the light beam, creating an earth-shattering sound. The void trembled. Violet Knight suffered a violent impact. His body kept retreating, and each step he took cracked the ground. Is he still a human? He didn't even make a move. He just used his feet to disperse such a terrifying attack? Violet Knight was very sullen. Lin Xian's attitude was even more arrogant than the last time. This made him have the urge to vomit blood. The power of bloodline. The blood in his body surged, and heart-palpitating power was quickly awakening. However, before this power could fully awaken, a black shoe landed on his chest, sending him flying. Puff! Violet Knight rolled out like a dead dog. His blood splattered all the way. Everyone stared at Lin Xian in a daze, listing him as one of the people they couldn't afford to offend. Although his cultivation was average, He couldn't stand up to Lin Xian's combat strength. The martial artists of Purple Extreme Demon Palace were both shocked and furious. Wang Shi stared at Lin Xian with murderous eyes, while the other two went to save Violet Knight. If you have any last words, leave them. Wang Shi's voice was like a poisonous snake rubbing against the ground, making people uncomfortable. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.